Com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 1,437 points to 43,658. Market update brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to the Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
Bryce throws back in the end zone. Touchdown, Excel! Xavier Legette, his fourth touchdown of the season. Give to Chuba. Groundhogs forward into the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina. And the Panthers go back on top. Chuba inside the 10, 5, slides into the end zone. Touchdown, Panthers. In the pocket, Carr floats it deep down the left side for Wilson. It is juggled and incomplete. Cue up Sweet Carolina. The Panthers get a home dub.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Wednesday. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. We've been busy in the last few minutes here because Dave Canales, the head coach of the Panthers, talking to the media this afternoon and revealing quite a few nuggets that we're going to pass along to you right now. Starting with Bryce Young will be starting this Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern in Germany, as the Panthers take on the New York Giants overseas. Bryce Young, the starting quarterback for this year, by the way. This is just one step beyond he's the starting quarterback right now. He's the starting quarterback on Sunday. After that, there's a bye week. There's discussions. They'll get to it. Also, again, I said there's multiple nuggets of information. There is a second-round pick running back by the name of Jonathan Brooks. He will be made active today by 4 o'clock. The reason why I emphasize today by 4 o'clock is because if he wasn't on the active roster today at 4 o'clock, he would go on injured reserve for the rest of the year. His 21-day practice window in returning from injured reserve was expiring today at 4, so he's going to get a chance to play. He will at least be on the active roster. He will at least be eligible to play, make his NFL debut this Sunday in Germany against the Giants. Jaden Crumedy, same thing. He is a rookie defensive lineman. He is going to be made eligible today. How about it? Bryce Young is starting. I mentioned Dave Canales told the media this is exactly what it sounded like.
Bryce will be starting this week. This is about the progress from one week to the next, and then I preach finish. I talk about finish all the time. You know, that's finish everything. Finish plays, drives, quarters, halves, finish games. He did a fantastic job of finishing that game the right way, finding a way to win, you know, and really battling that way. So I was really proud of Bryce for that, and you know, just took all the information in and wanted to give him another opportunity to get out there and face the Giants this week in Germany.
Now, I heard that clip before the show, and then I had to start getting ready to move to the studio, so I am wildly excited for this next clip we're going to play. Because I hear that, and my first thought is it's about his progress from week to week, and it's about the way he finished the game on Sunday, thus he's going to be the starter this weekend. What didn't you know about his progress week to week and how he finished the game on Sunday? On Monday when you spoke to the media? Why were you non-committal up until Wednesday? What changed? Now I know that they won the game at the end. I learned that on Tuesday. So now, yes, he finished well, and we can start him on Wednesday. The next clip here, Dennis gathered the audio right before the show. It says, Dave Canales asked why he's been non-committal on quarterback. I'm as excited as you are. Here's the clip.
I thought Andy did a good job when he was in there as well. You know, and then of course, you know, a car accident and a sprained thumb, you know, put us in this situation. But, you know, as Bryce gets back in there to see the progress and to see those things, you know, gives me, you know, confidence to give him another chance. But at the same time, you know, I want to do what's best for the team, and that requires us taking all the information in and seeing how we operate.
Nah, not the best answer I was hoping for.
You got a Dave Canales answer.
I want. Yeah,
you got a Dave Canales answer.
Well played. Why was I expecting anything more? Got to take in all the information. What information did you gather between Monday and Wednesday? It should have been Sunday after the game. But if you are one of those coaches that's, You know, you never food shop when you're hungry. You never retire after a loss, and you never name your starter until you watch the tape. If that's something you have going on, I forgot my favorite one of that. I used to say that all the time. It's you never food shop when you're hungry. You never retire after a loss. You never swipe when you're lonely. And it's a funnier joke that way. Anyway, if you are a coach who has to watch the film in order to name a starter, fine. Monday was the latest and that was Wednesday. And it may seem like nothing, but it's not. It has to be Bryce. It had to be Bryce. It was always going to be Bryce. And waiting till Wednesday is not just it's 2 days later. And it darn sure isn't, despite people on Twitter that keep telling me this, it darn sure isn't, well, why give the Giants the advantage of knowing who to prepare for? It's not that. I don't know what kind of defenses you think. Well, with Bryce Young and Andy Dalton, we run a completely different playbook. Like they're not that different.
It's not like Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson out there.
It's exactly. That might be a better example. I used to always use when Tyrod Taylor backed up Joe Flacco. Mm-hmm. They were in Baltimore. That used to always be my example for like, okay, if it's those two, yeah, there's going to be different defensive plans. But Joe Flacco again, and maybe the next generation of that. Joe Flacco and Anthony Richardson, very different. Bryce Young, Andy Dalton, very different, but you don't prepare for them totally different.
Yeah, the scheme really isn't entirely different.
Different tint on the game plan, not a different whole scale color change, right? Just a little hue, a little different hue, shades of gray, if you will. Here's why I'm so adamant about this. The number one thing that was brought up after watching Bryce Young the first two games, right? I'm talking week 1 and week 2, not the two right here. Week 1 and week 2, the number one thing was it looks like his confidence is shot. He was scared to pull the trigger on throws. His body language wasn't good. It looked like his confidence was a huge issue.
It was gone.
So why not use every opportunity now that he's back and playing again to build his confidence, knowing that it's been a big issue? He suffered a crisis of confidence like 2 months ago. Why not use now to build up his confidence? Why not say it with your chest? He is our starting quarterback this week. Why? Because he earned it. Not, well, we like the way the progress went and the way he finished. And, after watching the film on Sunday night and then also on Monday and then also on Tuesday and then also on Wednesday and basically being forced by a deadline to have to name a starting quarterback, by default, we've gone with Bryce. Turn to Bryce. How confident does that make you? Thanks, coach. Smile, wink, ding. Everything this week for the Panthers is about trust. Everything. And it's along those same lines we talked about, right? You can follow the action. It starts with the trust from Dave Canales to Bryce Young. And the reason why this week especially is because the Giants have a heck of a defensive line. And with trust comes playing fast. Bryce Young has to trust the heck out of Dave Canales on the play call. Dave Canales has to trust the heck out of Bryce Young on the play call. He'll get rid of it fast. He will not hang on and give the defensive line a chance to make a huge play. Then it goes from there. Then the quarterback has to trust the heck out of the wide receivers. You got to throw it before they're open. So you anticipate, and then not as they break open, the ball is there because you don't have time to sit there and wait for them to go, all right, cool, he's open, now I'll throw. That's how you end up with Brian Burns doing a dance. That's how you end up with Dexter Lawrence doing a dance. The defensive lineman for the Giants. Dave Canales was asked today what Bryce was shown to get another start, or has shown, not was shown. Not what they showed him, what he showed everyone in the game on Sunday to earn another start.
Finding throws down the field, a lot of it's chemistry with the guys he's been working with, and finding completions, some really cool explosive plays that showed up in the game. Just our third down operation. I know we didn't have the best third down day that we wanted to, but I saw progress there just with the whole group, getting up and operating that way, and a lot of the other specific things, again, I won't go into those details. Those are private conversations in the QB room. So I'll keep it at that. But, just the steps forward, the progress, and then the finish, and that's what we look for. We're looking for that finish.
That's what you look for. You're looking for the finish. which is true. Which is why I think right after that finish, right after that win, you should have known. That's not like, oh, we were looking for somebody, we wanted to make sure he was getting rid of the ball in 2.7 seconds, so we had to go through and time everyone. It's like, you won the game. We were all there. We watched it. Dennis, you were there.
I was there.
You saw it with your own eyes.
I did.
I don't think walking out of the parking lot after the game, you were going, wow, I really hope they won that game. Like, you knew it was in an inbounds, out of bounds, go, no go, black and white. It is an obvious decision.
I wonder if Dave Canales has had the mindset. I know a lot of coaches have this of you don't lose your starting spot due to injury. And that's the kind of the thing with Dalton, like because of the thumb, that's the reason why he didn't start. So it's like, but quarterback is just a little bit of a different beast. So I wonder if Dave was like, I don't want to take this from a guy who got hurt. I wonder if that does factor into it some. I'm not entirely sure. No one's asked him that question.
Yeah, I mean, if you have that rule and it's known, maybe. I also I'm of the belief that, rules are meant to be broken. And I might argue the reason Bryce Young lost his job at the beginning of the year was because of an injury. It was more to pride and ego than it was to physical body part. But hey, If I'm stretching truths, I'm going to get to wherever I want to go, and I'll find a way to justify it once I get there. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, the breaking news of just moments ago, 15, 20 minutes ago, Bryce Young starting for the Panthers against the Giants this weekend. Secondary breaking news, Jonathan Brooks, second-round rookie running back, will be active for this week, beginning at some point in the next 50 minutes when the deadline hits. So he will be on the active roster starting this week, again, in Germany, in the morning, Sunday morning football, at least our time, for the Panthers and Giants. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will continue. Coming up next, for all the struggles the Panthers have, the Canes have all the goods. They are on a 7-game winning streak. They got the win, but they did not pass the test that I gave them yesterday. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
The Canes need to change their season slogan from raise up to sup. After that terrible opener, they hit the road and come back a brand new team. Marty Necas, practically an early season MVP candidate. And everyone's afraid of the Ghost. Shane Gostisbehere's power play snipes. Yeah, Ghost, we see ya.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, North Carolina, kick off an exciting basketball season with an offer to splash on with BetMGM, an authorized gaming operator of the NBA. Enjoy an NBA Odds Boost token to snag even more winnings on your basketball wagers, and it's oh so simple to use. I'm Victoria Vodenecker here for BetMGM, and you just log into your BetMGM Sportsbook app and add an NBA wager to your bet slip and activate your Odds Boost token. If you win the wager that was made with the Odds Boost token, you will receive extra winnings in unrestricted bonus dollars. See, it's that simple. 3 quick steps and BetMGM's got you Euro stepping your way to even more buckets. Enjoy our Odds Boost token just for you to help you create another perfect season of basketball brilliance. Join the huddle, get off the bench, and head for the net with BetMGM Sportsbook all season long. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Existing customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as unrestricted funds. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Morning people wake up for peace and quiet. McDonald's breakfast people, we wake up for the sweet rush of getting that warm, delicious breakfast right before it ends.
Enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with a fluffy egg for only $2.50. Be a McDonald's breakfast person. Get the most important deal of the day right after you wake up. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Here's Megan with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Are sleepless nights affecting your life? Parkway Sleep Health Centers can help. We've treated sleep disorders in the Triangle and beyond for over 20 years. We offer sleep studies, office visits, CPAP machines, supplies, and more. And our streamlined process allows us to see you sooner and usually saves hundreds of dollars.
End sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
When you're hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. This made us wonder, what if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
Escape rooms? Elementary. And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Simple. So, see what the world is like when ZipRecruiter does the hard work of hiring for you. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Go Kaniemi. He's got real estate. Lets the shot go. Save close up. Rebound. Necas. He scores! Marty Necas is beyond hot. And with 29.3 seconds, the second star of the week puts Carolina 5-4.
Shout out to the voice of the Canes, Mike Maniscalco, for appropriately hyping up what was eventually, about a minute later, the go-ahead goal to win a game that felt like there were 6 games crammed into one game for the Canes last night against the Flyers. I mean, it really did feel like, you know, the sun rised, especially because of daylight savings time and all our internal clocks are off anyway. Mm-hmm. Felt like the sun rose and set 10 times as that game was going on.
If you were a fan in the stands, you were treated to a very entertaining game.
6 of them.
Yeah.
You got kind of like a slow start. Then there was the quick early fireworks. Then there was this wild comeback. Then there was a little stalemate for like half a period. And then boom, boom, bang, 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 over. Canes escaped, I'll call it, with their 7th straight win last night against Philly. So, like the concrete, real, tangible test, they passed because they scored more goals than the other team and did enough to keep the winning streak alive. But my theoretical, intangible other test that I gave them yesterday, a lot of red ink on that paper. A lot of corrections. Yesterday, my request for the Canes was to make sure that they didn't play with their food. That's what I called it. Don't play with your food. You're going up against a team that is 27th, 28th, 29th in the league in most important stats. Goals scored per game, goals allowed per game. They weren't very good. They're dead last in the Eastern Conference in the NHL standings thus far through the first 3.5 weeks of the season, which obviously means dead last in the Metropolitan Division. I said, don't play with your food. You're playing well. You're on a 6-game win streak. You have a couple guys who are on fire. You are 8-2 to start the season. Don't play with your food. When you get a lead, have the killer instinct to end it. That was the challenge I gave them. And then they proceeded. They didn't just play with their food. I mean, it looked like they were trying to feed my 3-year-old toddler, right? Open up. Here comes the airplane. We play a game called Drive-Thru when he doesn't want to eat his food. He gets on this little car that he has in the house. He gets to go ride the car all over the kitchen, all over the living room, and then he swings on through and we give him a bite of food. That's what the Canes were doing with the Philadelphia Flyers last night. And do you know when I got nervous? Because I was watching it going, it feels, they're not really being hurt by it, but it feels like they're not locked in. And then I'm watching the game and I scroll onto Twitter and I see Walt Ruff, team reporter, friend of the show, joins us often. He tweeted this out. It hasn't happened much. This is a direct quote from a Walt Ruff tweet. It hasn't happened much thus far this season, but the #Canes have tried to be too cute a handful of times tonight. A few errant drop passes have wound up going the other way, and they're fortunate that it hasn't burned them through the first 28 minutes. And I went, that's it. They're playing with their food. They're getting too cute. They're trying the fancy stuff. Rather than going from A to B, rather than just doing the simple thing that they've been doing and doing it well, they want to loop-de-doo. They want to go a little, hey, look what I can do. Philly opened the scoring, 1-0. Happens. Not going to kill them on it. Not saying it was the best, not saying it was great execution, but 1-0. 3 straight goals by the Canes. Martinook, who I had as a first goal scorer, decided to wait and be the third goal scorer. Scored, put the Canes up 3-1. I'm looking at it going, I don't care how you got there. I don't care if you were sloppy up to that point. You're up 3-1 on a team that's not playing well. Slam the door. Slam the door, open, shut, move on. You beat the worst team in the division. Ho-hum. Let's get out of here. Business. Nope. That's not how it works. Turnovers in your own end. Soft goals allowed by Pyotr Kochetkov. Missed scoring chances on the other end. And like I said, you go through a couple of these phases of the game, and all of a sudden it's 4-4 halfway through the third period. And it's a completely different game. It's playing with your food. It's not just finishing your meal. Luckily for you, you have maybe the hottest player in the NHL in Martin Necas, and he said, even though I'm absolutely exhausted, and he said he was post-game, he's like, I guess if the puck's going to come this way, I'll try to score.
He said I was gassed.
Luckily, you have maybe the hottest player in the NHL, and he was able to bail you out a little bit. Here's Martin Necas on what was going through his head before that game winner.
Oh, my God. I think last 2 or 3 shifts I made about 50 cutbacks, and we had some good zone time, and actually, last time I passed it up too early, I look up at the Jumbotron at the clock, and I saw 34 seconds left, and I was like, oh boy, now then we gotta have to play the overtime. I was gassed, but luckily went in, and good teams find a way to win, just like Roddy said after a game, and that's what we did today.
Credit to Martin Necas. Let's just get another multi-point night. I don't know what else there is to. It's unbelievable. This last 7-game streak that he's been on, I feel like we've already said every compliment you can say about a player.
Yeah, at the very end there, when he was on the ice, just trying to create everything that he could in the offensive end, and boy, did he.
So it's almost like it's nice to have that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have needed it. You shouldn't have needed it.
But you're going to have those games. 82 games of the season, you're going to need that every once in a while, even against a bad team.
I'm going to fight back on that because it's winning with Max Scherzer is what I call it, right? When you go Max Scherzer, when you show up with your C- game, but somehow you walk off, you can't control your off-speed stuff, but somehow you walk off the mound and you pitch 7 2/3 and gave up 1 run, and it's like you didn't have your good stuff all game. I agree, over an 82-game season, you're going to need that. But when a trap game or a game like this is so obvious, you preemptively strike there. You show up ready and expecting it. Now, if we talked about this throughout the season, but yesterday, we put a 7 out of 10 on this for a big game. It's an in-division game. This is not one of those run-of-the-mill most grindy, you show up and you don't have any. This is one you show up and everything was expected. You're playing a not great team. You're going to get ahead early. You're going to be the more talented team. It's what you do once you get there. And they didn't do enough once they got there. And again, it's nice to have Martin Necas, but you shouldn't, not saying you shouldn't need Martin Necas. You always need your good players to play well, but you shouldn't need the late game heroics in that game. If Philly was a 30% better team, I might go with the, hey, you have to learn how to win when you show up without your good stuff. If this were the second half of a back-to-back, everybody shows up a little tired, you were traveling last night, 100% I'm with you. If this were game 5 of that 6-game road trip they were just on, I'd be 100% with you. Like, hey, they showed up with their C- game and won anyway. Congrats. But this is not that. This is not that. This one is one that was Vegas-style neon lights blinking with an arrow. Hey, if you play your B-plus game, you win by 2 goals and it's no drama. Martin Necas was asked about that hot streak and basically asking if what he's been doing is feeling special.
Obviously, it feels better than what I've been, used to, but I was always confident in myself and having a great team and great line mates that we kind of figure out the way how we play and build some chemistry has been great. And, same kind of with the power play. And, it's always fun to play this way.
It's always fun to play that way. You're darn right it is. There are some harsh conversations. It's becoming like Well, obviously, the Pyotr Kochetkov conversation we're going to save some time for later in the show because he gave up some that he shouldn't, and it's getting to the point where you learn those lessons.
Hey, Canes only gave up 6 shots on goal the final 2 periods of the game, and 3 of those went into the back of the net.
That's a harsh conversation we're going to have with Pyotr Kochetkov, and we will. I'm not avoiding that. But also, there's some turnovers in their own area that need to be like Roslovic to me is outweighing the bad with the good, but that doesn't mean the bad isn't there. The guy's kind of a little lackadaisical with the puck every now and then.
Yeah, no one handled the puck really well yesterday for Carolina.
But then he goes and scores, and it's like, all right, fine, never mind. The good outweighed the bad, but just barely last night. And then the empty netter does appear to make it less brutal, I guess you could say. Right? It's the empty netter, win by 2. Everyone around the league that wasn't watching the game, like, all right, Canes won. High-scoring game. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending and Gordon Miller. As always, is it technically still an election year? It's an election year. The election, obviously, yesterday. But anytime there's all of this chaos going on in government and in the markets, you, me, them, I don't know anyone that can predict what's going on in the interest markets in the mortgage world. I do know that there are certain people that handle the changes and the unpredictability better, and that's where Miller Lending comes in. They handle the unpredictability better than just about anybody, right? When rates drop and everybody, all right, scramble, let's go, they're calm. When rates go up and everyone's, oh, no, they're calm because they've perfected something that they originated. The no closing cost loan. Gordon Miller's been doing it for decades, and Miller Lending has been doing it since they showed up here in the Triangle, locally owned, decades ago as well. Basically what it does is it allows you to refinance whenever you need without taking money out of your pocket. There's no closing costs. There's no third-party fees. Zero truly means zero, which means you lock in your original rate with no closing costs and fees. So if you refinance a week later, you're not thinking about all of those costs and fees you wasted last week. Secondarily, if rates go up, you're cool because you've locked in the rate and it didn't take that money out of your pocket. You might even be able to sustain a higher rate and have that monthly payment be slightly higher without panicking because you didn't have to pay those costs and fees. You have that nest egg to dig into. It's all explained at MillerLending.com, and I encourage you to give them a call and hear it for yourself. Hear it straight from Miller Lending and that staff over there, including Gordon Miller. The number to call is 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at MillerLending.com. Once again, that's MillerLending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We'll be back after this with the Thesis Statement, our brand new, as of yesterday, college sports feature. Today, we are writing our term paper on a radio show about the college football playoff rankings and what they mean for the ACC. Next.
The Adam Gold Show.
More than the Panthers winning, I was just excited that Bryce Young looked like a quarterback who could play in the league. Now let's build on that. It doesn't do anybody any good to pretend that Bryce isn't going to be the quarterback. He has to be the starter in Germany. I don't get why we decide, well, we're just going to play coy. Who is that serving? Put him in the game, let him go.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
She heard an ad for My Computer Career and jumped in feet first.
Taking exams and getting certified in a matter of just months.
Even better, you can work from anywhere.
Wherever you are, if you're on vacation, you can still clock in. I work out of my house in my pajamas.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them.
Launch a new high-demand career in IT or level up with more certifications. Build a career in record time with less money.
I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone. Indeed, it was the right move for me.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season, and that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find Pinot Noirs and Cabernets that you adore. Our helpful guides are so friendly and nice. So many bottles to try at the lowest price. So gather with friends as you sit down to eat. Grateful for all who made Thanksgiving complete.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Train heating and cooling systems are engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Oh, this is... I have no idea who sings this song, but I'm a Saturday Night Live fan, and they did a spoof of this song, and I didn't know what it was until just now. What song is this?
This is Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. You may have thought it was like, oh, this sounds like Olivia Rodrigo or Dua Lipa or something like that.
All I know is it was about the SNL skit. This is from last week, not this past week. So 2 SNLs ago. It was about like a lady that cheated on her honeymoon.
Oh.
And they sang a spoof to that song right there, and there you go. That's how hip and cool I am.
Look at you.
A song is so popular, it's already being spoofed on Saturday Night Live, and then 2 weeks later, I finally hear a clip of it. But I'll tell you right now, if you need a Mickey Mouse breakfast song, I got you. Got those
hot diggity dogs.
You're darn right. Hot dog, diggity dog. I got all of those locked up. Modern pop, not as much. It's time for the thesis statement. It is a school segment. Get it? College sports. Where every day about this time, I am going to throw out a thesis statement about one of the colleges that we cover, one of the sports teams that we cover at the college level, and then I will attempt to defend that thesis. Today's thesis is it's time to worry about ACC football. It's time to worry specifically about the allegiance, even of previously thought of very, very true and loyal ACC members' allegiance to the Atlantic Coast Conference. And the reason being, right now I'm going to jump into the defense, The first college football playoff rankings of the entire season came out last night. It was shortly after this show, started about 7 o'clock, the reveal. It's time to worry about the ACC. And here's why. We know what the reputation is of Atlantic Coast Conference football right now. And I'm not talking about from those of us on the inside that cover it and watch it and are fans of it every week. I'm talking about from the national sports angle. The ACC is not seen as top level. I think it is top level in a lot of ways, but it's not seen as that. Do you know how I know? Because Florida State last year was an undefeated conference champion and couldn't even work their way into a 4-team playoff. So when they expanded to a 12-team playoff for this year, thus the college football playoff rankings, the first time ever you're looking at the top 11 or 12, depending on where that group of 5 team is, versus the top 4, I immediately shuddered when I saw it. There is one ACC team in the college football playoff if it were to start today. One is a catastrophe for the conference and for holding the conference members' allegiances and loyalty. Right now, Miami is at number 4. They are getting a bye. They are doing great. The next closest is SMU at 13. Obviously, the top 12 get in, and maybe the top 11 plus whoever the group of 5 is if it's outside of the top 12, right? Right now, Boise State is at 12, so they would be in as the top-ranked group of 5 team. But if they were 15 and SMU were 12, Boise State would get in before SMU, assuming they win their conference. So it's not even like their first team out, really, although kind of SMU is. If you're wondering about the entire list, I'll read it for you quickly. First, Oregon. Second, Ohio State. Third, Georgia. Fourth, Miami. Fifth, Texas. Sixth, Penn State. Seventh, Tennessee. Indiana in 8th. BYU 9th. Notre Dame 10th. Alabama in 11th. 12th, Boise State. Followed up then by SMU in 13. We talked just a couple seconds ago about Boise State at 12. Heather Dinich of ESPN explains why that's so important.
Boise State being in the top 12 is important. I think you guys mentioned this, but college football fans need to know that if the 5th highest ranked conference champion is out, they would be bumping out a 12th team. But there's the flip side to it. They could be one of the 4 highest ranked conference champions and earn a first round bye.
Look at that. Boise State, they're excited. ACC, not so much. Let's dive in, shall we? SMU has 1 loss. It's to BYU. BYU is a top 10 team in the rankings. They have 1 loss, and it's to the 9th team in the country, according to you, College Football Playoff Ranking Committee. That's not me. You said their loss is one of the best losses in the country. They have 2 wins over ranked opponents. Started to put together quite the resume for SMU. I don't even like SMU, but I can look at the facts and say, they're pretty good to me. Putting them at 13 is telling the ACC you have to be undefeated to have any control over your destiny. You can't have 1 loss to a top 10 team. If you don't go undefeated, don't come crying to me when you're not in the top 12. And that's an issue. That's a big issue. Because schools want to be able to control their entrance or withdrawal from the college football playoff. They want to know they have some type of autonomy and not the first sign of adversity, get out of here. Meanwhile, let's talk Notre Dame. Because Notre Dame's always, I mean, that's everybody's golden child, the Golden Domers. Let's talk Notre Dame. They play a whole bunch of ACC teams. They are in, by the way. They're sitting there at number 10. Their losses to Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois couldn't beat NC State before NC State figured out how to play well. They have 3 wins over ranked opponents, one of which actually matches SMU. They both beat Louisville. Then they have 2, I wouldn't say less impressive, but I would say less impressive wins over ranked teams, Texas A&M and Navy. SMU's resume is better, but Notre Dame is in and SMU isn't. What does that tell you? It's a reputation thing. It's a brand thing. They will look at it and decide, not let you play it out on the field. They will look at it and decide the ACC is less deserving. And by the way, I'm not even saying this doesn't ever benefit the ACC, but it shows. Even the explanation for Miami being ranked as high as they are, I think should raise eyebrows for everyone else in the ACC. So Miami is ranked 4th. That's good, right? For the ACC, that's good.
Very good.
But then you see BYU at 9, and you go, wait a second. Why is BYU below Miami? Let alone 4 spots below Miami. Let alone Miami's in a bye. BYU's going to have to go on the road in the first round. What the heck is going on here? Because Miami has fewer ranked wins than BYU does and has played significantly more close games against worse teams than BYU has. The College Football Playoff Chair, Ward Manuel, and his media availability after the rankings came out, while speaking on behalf of the committee, he's like the mouthpiece, the speaker, if you will. He cited Miami's offensive prowess when asked about the gap between the number 4 Hurricanes and number 9 BYU, who are both undefeated, and then added it came down to more of an eye test. Now, thankfully for the ACC, their eye test put Miami above BYU. Thus, they get the bye, and they can probably, as long as the loss is a good one, maybe in the ACC championship, still survive that. But if they can do it to BYU, they can do it to you.
Well, BYU, based off this, would actually be the 4 seed because Oregon and Ohio State are both Big Ten schools. They're 1 and 2, so both those can't get buys.
True. Well played, and an important detail. I guess what I'm saying here would be BYU, if they don't win their conference, and Miami, if they don't win their conference, would then be battling to not have the bye, and falling from 9 and falling from 4, BYU would be likely to fall out because of where they are in this initial ranking. Despite the fact that objectively, if you did the thing that people love to do on Twitter, which is you hide the name, you put Team A and Team B and just put their resumes and say which one is better, everybody's going to pick BYU. If they can do that to BYU, they can do it to you. Miami, luckily, you're the bigger brand than BYU. What if the undefeated ACC team was Pittsburgh? What if the undefeated ACC team was Georgia Tech? Would you get that same Miami bump? What if it wasn't BYU who had a nearly identical but much, I wouldn't say much, but noticeably better resume? What if it wasn't BYU, but it was LSU? Are you getting that bump? You're not. If they can do it to you, if they can do it to them, they can do it to you. What I took away from this initial ranking, and I read them all for you, is first and foremost, the thing they value is undefeated, which, yes. I mean, if you want to go full, control what you can control. If you don't lose any games, you're probably pretty safe in any power conference. Unlike in the past where a Florida State team could really get messed over like last year. Under this, if it's undefeated, that's priority. You're probably good. Other than that, as much as it is resume, it's name brand, it's recognition, it's blue blood, and it's what they call the eye test. And maybe even based on what Ward Manuel said, you better start building your team to score a bunch of points. They're not as excited about a 9-6 win as they are a 54-48 win, because Miami loves a 50-40 game. But the offensive prowess was cited for why they're better. If you play a little bit better defense, I don't need offensive prowess. I'm pitcher duels out here, and you're looking for home runs. We're looking for wins. I did not like the college football playoff the way it came out, because once you start saying the bigger brands or the teams with a better history, or you get to the subjective, the eye test, a bit more than the factual, I don't think the ACC is going to come out on the right side of that. And then when I say you have to start worrying about the loyalty, that's when teams get really upset. I don't like that Florida State wants to leave the ACC. I don't like the way they've handled themselves. I've made fun of them. I've chastised them for how they've handled themselves in the courts and everything else. But I don't fault them for being very, very mad and looking for people to blame last season, because they deserved to be in the college football playoff and they weren't there. I believe they should have turned out, like if they wanted to sue somebody, they should have sued the College Football Playoff Committee for not putting them in. They should have aimed there. Instead, they aimed it at the ACC. And I don't think there's any guarantee that as teams get messed over more and more, they won't aim at the conference as well. In which case, it's just a matter of time until every team gets messed over once if this is how they're going to handle business with the college football rankings. Once Virginia Tech should be a 9 seed and they end up at 15 and not in, they'll be angry at the ACC. They'll be saying if I played in the SEC, I would have been there. Once UNC, NC State get messed over, they think they should get the bye and they don't, whatever it is, then they'll be mad saying if I wasn't in the ACC, this wouldn't have happened. And once you have those thoughts, it's the beginning of the end. The grant of rights will keep you in only so long until teams can afford to leave. Is it going to be an issue tomorrow? No. Next year? No. 5 years from now? Maybe. Because that exit fee drops every year towards 2036. Thesis? Defended. At least I hope so. I was never in those really smart majors where you actually had to like defend theses and then you had to wait to see if they approved and all that. I was in communications, right? Our finals were, I'm going to put together a radio show. I'm going to put together a reimagining of a scene from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That was in addition to the serious, common law and all that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Brian Burns, remember him? Brian Burns, maybe the best defensive player the last 5 years for the Carolina Panthers. He's on the New York Giants now. They traded him this offseason, didn't even get a first-round pick back. And guess what? Brian Burns is winning the breakup. I mean, we've all seen the competition. You may not have participated in it, but we all know a couple. Maybe you follow both on Instagram. They break up. One of them's, oh, look on the beach with a bunch of good-looking friends. The next one, oh, look at that. They're tweeting or posting that they just got a raise and have a new title at work. Oh, look at this. Dennis, you'll appreciate this one. Did they just buy a motorcycle?
Go on.
Oh, look, they're living life. Oh, look at that. This one's going backpacking through Europe. Oh, now the other one is going backpacking through, I don't know, Asia. Now, oh, look at this one. They're just one-upping each other. They're fighting the breakup. Brian Burns has been posting some pictures, and the Panthers, they're not. Brian Burns is like, look at me doing this cool thing. The Panthers are like, hey, we didn't stink last week. Through 9 games, Burns has 5 sacks. Started slow, by the way, too, so he's picking it up. He has 5 sacks through 9 games. Puts him on pace, right? We don't have an exact midpoint in the NFL season anymore. Puts him on pace for like 9.5. But I would add, since he's picked up pace and started slow, we'll put him at 10. Just a nice round number. Since 2017, when, by the way, this is just to put it in perspective for you. In 2017, the Panthers had 2 double-digit sack players. One of them has already been inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, Julius Peppers. The other, Mario Addison. They each had 11. That was back in 2017. Since then, Brian Burns has had double-digit sacks, and there was one random season that looks really out of place from Hassan Reddick, where he had 11 sacks.
The 1 year he was with Carolina.
The 1 year. It was a Matt Rule year.
That's right, because he played with them at Temple.
Those are the only seasons of double-digit sacks that the Panthers have had since Julius Peppers did it. Brian Burns might do it this year in his first year with the Giants after starting slow. Brian Burns is tied for 17th in the league in sacks. Charles Harris is leading the Panthers. He's tied for 59th. The Giants are one of the best defensive fronts in the league. And they're doing that with Kayvon Thibodeau missing significant time with injuries, which means Brian Burns, who was supposed to be 1A and 1B, has been 1 only on the edge rushing. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence on the inside is, I don't know, better than number 1. I don't know what that would be. But on the edge, Brian's been the number 1. And it's not just Brian Burns doing well, because I wouldn't even say he's crushing it. He's doing better than anything the Panthers have as an edge rusher, but it's not like he's the, a defensive player of the year candidate. It's not just that, it's what you did with the money. I see a lot of people thinking that they took the money that they didn't pay Brian Burns and they gave it to the offensive guards. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think they went, hey, instead of having a $10 bill, we can have 10 ones on the defensive side. Jadeveon Clowney, A'Shawn Robinson, DJ Wanham, and Josie Jewell combined for $30 million average annual value. Brian Burns, they were all signed this offseason, by the way. Brian Burns, average annual value on his contract, $28.2. Now, I understand that I could nitpick and say Burns is $1.8 million less, but I'm gonna round and say they're equal. You take Brian Burns, 5 sacks. You take all of those 4 guys, 3 sacks. Would you rather have those 4 guys that I just mentioned, Jadeveon Clowney, A'Shawn Robinson, DJ Wanham, who hopefully is going to play at some point, and Josie Jewell, or Brian Burns with Charles Harris playing more, Brian Burns with Shai Tuttle playing more, Brian Burns with Trevin Wallace playing more? I think we would take Brian Burns with those guys, but I'll do you one better. Take out Brian Burns. Would you rather have those 4 guys or Charles Harris playing more, Shai Tuttle playing more when healthy, some of the younger guys in the interior of the defensive line playing more, Trevin Wallace playing more? The Panthers have one way to win the breakup, right? I think if you judge overall quality of life right now, Burns is winning in a landslide. But the one way you can win is by actually winning the game. Last year, remember the Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud discussion, the debates, I don't know, is it rivalry? Can we call it rivalry? Yeah, they were drafted 1 and 2. They're going to be linked, whatever you want to call it. C.J. Stroud won in a landslide. But the Bryce Young defenders have one ace up their sleeve that they can use every single time. Yeah, what happened when they played against each other, though? They're like, C.J. Stroud broke rookie records in this and took the Texans to the playoffs, and he did this in the playoffs. Yeah, what happened when they played in the same game, though? Who won that one? That's the only way the Panthers have anything to stand on when it comes to did you do the right thing getting rid of Brian Burns. So either win this week or I understand Panthers fans may not even want to win. We're going to have that conversation in a couple of minutes. If you want to lose for draft pick purposes, at least make sure you completely negate any impact Brian Burns has. I'm talking nothing. I'm talking a wide receiver who's named Mr. Cardio. Have you heard this one? I love a wide receiver named Mr. Cardio. Mr. Cardio means most routes run with no targets. You were just out there running laps. You're just up there, touching yard markers and running back to the huddle. Make Brian Burns Mr. Cardio, right? Like 25 pass rush reps, no pressures, no hits, no tackles for a loss, no run stuffs, no sacks, no quarterback hits, maybe a penalty. Another way to put it is make him Mr. 1 trillion. Remember Mark Titus? I don't know if everybody remembers this. He was a walk-on the Ohio State basketball team, played AAU with Mike Conley and Greg Oden, and then walked on with them at Ohio State. And he called himself Mr. Trillion because he would get in only at the end of blowouts. So he would have 1 minute played, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 fouls, 0 turnovers, 0, 0, 0. So if you looked at his stat line, it would say 1 trillion. It was just 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Make Brian Burns a trillionaire. 60 snaps, 0 stats. That's how you win. Or at least give yourself something, right? That one thing that you can argue with. The one thing you can argue with. It's like it's Bill Russell in an all-time NBA debate. You got one piece of ammunition there, right? Michael Jordan, most dominant, Wilt Chamberlain, all the stats, LeBron, the longevity. Bill Russell's defenders are in there just like, we got rings. We got 11 of them. Do you have a secondary point? No. Got 11 of them. What else would you like? Panthers can be that. Sure, Brian Burns is going to win everything, but we got that win in Germany. Do you have anything else? No, not at all. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Jadeveon Clowney's good against the rush. Sit out of this one. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, by the way. 99.9 The Fan there. Super easy to follow. There will be a new edition of Pack Therapy tomorrow. What's the schedule for Panthers Playbook?
7 a.m. tomorrow.
7 a.m. tomorrow.
As always, every Thursday.
New edition of Panthers Playbook, which I'm assuming we'll discuss Bryce Young starting, Jonathan Brooks' debut, There's a lot
thing
going
or
on.
Two.
There's a lot going on as far as podcasts on our YouTube page, as well as clips from this show, clips from the Adam Gold Show, Kane's Corner, so much. Check it out, YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe while you're there. Share and tell your friends. We'd appreciate it. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, football at 4, I ask you this question, Panther fans. Outside of maybe – this is the song. It's so funny. Outside of wanting to win the breakup with Brian Burns, is there any reason to want to win this game against another 2-win team that you might be vying for draft pick position with? Do you want to win, Panthers fans? Crazy question to ask. Answers next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Add the Bengals to the list of teams that Belichick could potentially go to after this season. I think Zach Taylor has actually done a pretty good job up until this year. Give Belichick Burrow.
You're going to blame Zach Taylor for this?
It's not his fault.
I didn't say it was, but what are you going to do? I'm telling you, add the Bengals to the list of teams.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM. or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
If you're like most Americans, you have a ton of credit card debt, and you're paying insane interest rates on that debt every month. Same for car loans and personal loans. Stop getting ripped off. Let Loan Pronto consolidate that debt for you at a significantly lower rate using the equity in your home. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Express Equity line of credit can get you up to $500,000 so you can consolidate your debt in as fast as 5 days. Their average client saves over $1,000 every month by doing this. Right now is the best time to act. With an Express Equity line of credit, you can access up to 90% of your home's equity, usually without an appraisal. Don't put it off. Get your financial house in order for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now to see what you can save. It's a free quote, and there's no credit pull, unlike those other guys. Call now, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Pack family knows Sammy's Tap and Grill is your one-stop shop for brews and bites, serving up good times for almost 25 years. Sammy's has over 40 beers on tap, so you're guaranteed to find your perfect pint. And house-made food that's touchdown-worthy. For the game, Sammy's got you covered with over 60 TVs. Plus, you can bring your own mascot. Sammy's is pet-friendly. Come find your people at Sammy's Tap and Grill on Avon Ferry near campus. Great beer, delicious food, TVs galore, furry friends welcome. Visit Sammy'sTapGrill.com for daily specials and beer lists.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score!
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Increasing clouds as we get through the afternoon. It's a warm one out there, 82 degrees, close to a record high. Mid-60s overnight tonight with some scattered light rain, especially in our southern counties. And then we'll end up with a chance of showers first thing tomorrow morning to around lunchtime. Tomorrow's high just 78.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones today up 1,497 points to 43,719. Market update brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to the Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities. This hour of the drive brought to you by Zero Res. This holiday season, Zero Res is hosting a food drive. When you get 3 rooms cleaned and donate non-perishable food, they'll clean a 4th room for free. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com. Again, ZeroResRaleigh.com.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
Football at 4 here on the drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Panthers Giants this weekend. We've been talking about it a lot today because there was some breaking news earlier today that Bryce Young will be starting that game at quarterback. Regardless of who's starting, Panthers Giants are both 2-win teams, and we're now past the midpoint of the season, just by a little bit. 2 wins. So the question is, do they even want to win? Do they even want to win? Now, old school thinkers, old school believers will say, you always want to win. Some might even quote Herm Edwards, and you know the quote I'm going with. You play to win the game. I tend to agree with you. I think you build your culture off of winning. I think winning is a learned trait. So you never, ever, ever in the history of ever put yourself as someone inside the locker room, coaches, trainers, like anybody, players, obviously. Anybody who's in there, assistant coaches, analysts, anybody in the locker room, you go full speed all the way to win as often as you can. However, in professional sports, the front office, who I don't consider in the locker room, right? I don't think when I think of like a GM or a director of college scouting, I'm not putting them, hey, the linebackers get dressed there and, the pro scouts get dressed across the hall. Like, that's not how it goes. If you're out of the locker room, sometimes you have to think about the future. You can tank from the front office, basically. Trade away your veterans who play well, let young guys who maybe won't play as well but will benefit from the experience play more. You can tank from the front office. So I'm asking fans here real quick. Just a quick question. You can think about it yourself. Think about your answers, then we'll go over them. See, we just had one segment called the Thesis statement earlier on, and now all of a sudden I sound like a teacher. Everybody, put your pencils down. We're just going to do a thought exercise for this one. If I gave you this option, which would you choose? You can win the game. No questions asked, right? You win by a touchdown. Or you can pick any 5 players you choose to play very well, but the team loses. Which option do you take? I'm like the football genie here, right? Channeling Robin Williams in like 1992. Which one are you choosing?
So pick a win or 5 players.
5 players play very well. Any 5 you choose.
Okay.
And a loss. Which way are you going? Because let's just be clear. Nobody here is choosing Saints week 1 or what was it, Commanders week 7. Nobody's choosing those losses over anything, right? So I put the 5 players playing very well, so there is something for you to build off of. There is, if I told you this, maybe I'll even pick the players for you just to make it easier. If I told you can either win the game or have Xavier Legette, Jonathan Brooks, Ike Ekwonu, J.C. Horn, and we'll throw Bryce Young in there. Those 5 guys play very, very well, but you fall short. You lose by 10. Which one are you taking? If I'm in that locker room, if I'm a player, a coach, somebody that's in there grinding every single day, strength staff, if I'm in that locker room, I better not know of anybody that picks option number 2. If you pick option number 2, go home and don't come back, turn in anything that says Carolina Panthers on it. If I'm in the front office, I am quietly picking option number 2 and doing my best not to let anybody in the locker room find out that I did. 9 teams have 2 wins right now. Through 9 weeks, 9 teams have 2 wins. 2 more have 3 wins. So depending on tiebreakers, you could go from where the Panthers are right now, 4th in the draft order, maybe even higher. You win one game, you could fall out of the top 10, depending on where your tiebreakers are with the herd of other teams that will finish with 3 wins or less. You could go from, hey, we have a chance to get a program-changing, franchise-changing quarterback, edge rusher, offensive tackle, right? One of the top of the draft guys, to, I hope we get lucky and someone with a top 8 grade falls to us. Do the Giants or the Panthers have their quarterback of the future? Even if you said yes, there was a pause before you said it.
Definitely not Daniel Jones.
And I think, depending on who you ask, the Bryce Young thing is the optimistic or 10%. Like let's not act like anyone out there was like, yeah, they do. At this point, it was at least like a maybe. If the answer is no to that question, do you have your quarterback of the future? If the answer is no, you can't go anywhere until that answer is yes. What's the best way to figure it out? High draft pick. It's a weak free agent class, by the way. If there was maybe an expected like Kirk Cousins hitting the open market or something like that, you might be able to solve it with cash and brute force. But the free agent class this year, I looked it up. You ready for the headline quarterbacks expected to be freshmen or free agent?
Them too.
Expected to be free agents this offseason. Sam Darnold.
Okay.
Zach Wilson.
All right.
Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
Jacoby Brissett. Marcus Mariota. Drew Lock. Justin Fields. Jameis Winston. Carson Wentz. Russell Wilson. Stop me when you hear a name you really want to be the quarterback of your team next year. I'm not going to keep going. That was just a dramatic thing to say. There's not many.
There's one name that popped there, maybe Justin Fields. Maybe.
It's big. You think Canales is going to trust him right out the gate as a passer? Yeah, I'm not sure. So this offseason, it's probably the draft or it's a trade. That's kind of the way you look at it. It's either a draft or the trade. And if you have to get a quarterback in the draft, where do you not want to be, Panthers fans? Maybe picking 9th? Why don't you want to be 9th? Because then you feel like you have to trade up into the top 3, maybe all the way up to the top 1 to get your guy, and that doesn't work well. You proved that. Either way, even if you're going to trade somebody, it's nice to have a high draft pick. I know you don't have your 2nd, but then it makes your 3rd, your 4th, your 5th more attractive, and I would not advise trading away the number 1 pick for a quarterback, but you could trade it away for future picks. Ton of them, boatload of them. Work from there. Somebody threw this out to me, and I'm just going to throw it out because I think it's funny and interesting, which is probably making Panthers fans nervous. What if Daniel Jones comes in to compete with Bryce Young next year? You get a veteran guy with a lot of snaps, a lot of starts, and you have Bryce Young to compete with him, and you probably don't have to spend too much money on what Daniel Jones would get on the open market if the Giants move on. We might be looking at both Carolina quarterbacks in Germany this weekend. Bruh. Just throwing it out there. It was brought up to me. I chuckled, so I thought I'd pass the laugh along. But I don't think it's like completely and totally out there. I don't think it's likely, but I don't think it's the craziest thing I've heard either.
He's a Charlotte guy.
Yeah. Maybe bring in Sam Howell too. Just
get all the locals.
Yeah. Where's Sam Hartman?
I think he's a free agent.
Well, there you go. Bring him in. My point is this. This weekend, it's not always a win is a win, a loss is a loss. For the players, it absolutely is. A win is a win, is a loss, and a loss is a loss. For the coaches, it is. But from the outside, from a fan's perspective, from the front office, from ownership's perspective, there's wiggle room. You might not want to win this one. You might not.
So by losing, they really would win.
By, kind of. But by losing, they get a better draft pick. They're still losing.
That's what I mean. Like you win by getting a better draft
They
pick.
get more value back from losing than they do from winning, which is a gross thing to say, but it's the way they've structured it. And it has to be structured that way. You can't just, every offseason, draw out of a hat to see who's going to get the top pick. You have to go to the worst teams, which helps create parity. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We've yet to say this on air, but I'm excited for it. TNA World Tag Team Champions, pro wrestling legends, and North Carolina born and raised stars, Jeff and Matt Hardy, a.k.a. the Hardy Boys, are going to be joining us here in studio to talk about their upcoming appearance in Fayetteville, North Carolina, back-to-back nights this Friday and Saturday at the Crown Arena. So they're going to join us in studio after the break. But first, Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Specifically, the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. You walk into Bailey's Fine Jewelry, they'll have a great showroom, rings, necklaces, earrings, all the jewelry that you expect at a jewelry store, which, when my wife and I go, she hangs out there. I beeline either right to the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop or left to where they have the Glashütte Original Watch Company case. They have the Blancpain case, and then they also have the Omega Boutique. I'm talking Omega Boutique today. If I had one grail, one watch that I could get my hands on, that I could purchase for myself, it would be an Omega Speedmaster Simple Moon watch. It's been worn on the moon. It's one of the cooler, iconic things you could make a statement with on your wrist. And they have a bunch of different variations, different dial colors, different sizes, automatic, manual wind. They have it all at the Omega Boutique. It is the second largest Omega Boutique of its kind in the entire country. And it's right there in Raleigh at the Village District location of Bailey's Fine Jewelry. We're going to take a break. When we come back, as promised, tag team world champions, some of the best tag team guys, ladder match guys in the history of professional wrestling. Jeff and Matt Hardy join us in studio. Stick around.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk, Panthers Playbook, the Paw Print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
Snap, give it to Chuba. Chuba inside the 10, 5, slides into the end zone. Touchdown Panthers. He spikes the ball, and Carolina's got a lead.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Tedeschi Trucks Band, Deuces Wild Tour 2024. 2 nights, November 7th and 8th. Raleigh Memorial Auditorium at Martin Marietta Center for the Performing Arts. Tedeschi Trucks Band, one of the best live acts on the road today. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Tedeschi Trucks Band, Deuces Wild Tour 2024. Presented by Live Nation.
If fashion is your thing, eBay is it. eBay's where I find all my favorites, from handbags to iconic streetwear, all authenticated. For real. This time, a little Supreme, some Gucci. I even have that vintage Prada on my watch list. That's why eBay's my go-to for all my go-tos. Yeah, eBay. The place for new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay. Things people love.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. 1-800-522-4700/CWP.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I live and work on both coasts, travel the country, and there's nothing better than Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and half-price appetizers Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. Visit all 5 Triangle locations and ask for their great daily beer specials. And how about this special? Every Sunday, they have $6 Bloody Marys and $6.50 Jamesons. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings. I do feel like I should do like a massive intro for this one, but I'm going to resist the urge to embarrass myself right at the beginning. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. In studio now, we have TNA World Tag Team Champions, pro wrestling legends, and as we were just talking, born and raised in North Carolina, Jeff and Matt Hardy. They are here ahead of TNA Wrestling, making its long-awaited return to Fayetteville for back-to-back nights this Friday and Saturday, November 8th and 9th at the Crown Arena. Be sure to check that out. All of the in-ring action will be taped for TNA's flagship weekly TV show Impact, which airs every Thursday night, 8 p.m. on AXS TV. And in the U.S., TNA Wrestling executives confirmed there will be championship matches both nights. We'll remind you of that as we go through this interview, but I'm ready to fanboy out a little bit here with the Hardy Boys. First of all, you brought in the TNA belts. I'm sure you guys have a billion of these things. Where do you keep the belts? Is there a storage locker, a safe, a display? Where's the belts?
I have all of the titles I've won on display in my basement, which is my gym, and also arcade and movie theater. A little bit of everything rolled into one. But that's where I have all the replicas. This is the legit deal. This is the title that we use, and we go and we defend it. Like, and whenever we lose this, then the team we lose it to, they take it, and it's their responsibility to keep up with it. So we have to drag this thing around. It's sometimes tricky when you're flying through airports many, many times during the week.
Yeah, the only title that I have, am I loud enough?
Oh, yeah.
The only title that I have is when I was the world champion, my last run in TNA, and it wasn't the immortal title. It was like the enigmatic world championship with a face on it, and the eyes light up and the mouth lights up. But I have, that's the only one I have at home, man. So I don't have any replicas.
It's about the memories, right? It's not
it's
about the hardware. Excuse me.
Yes.
With you guys sitting here, two of the best tag team wrestlers in the history of the event, the history of the sport. I'm gonna put you on the spot here, barring each other, right? Because family's always coming first. Dream tag team partner, somebody that you haven't wrestled with in a tag team. I'll go one wrestler and one non-wrestler, right? Bring somebody from entertainment or your regular life. Who do you want to wrestle with?
That's a very interesting question. Someone from wrestling that I've never teamed with that I think I would like to.
Dead or alive?
I would say the Macho Man, Randy Savage. He was my first favorite guy. He was hugely influential on my career, so it would be him. And then someone that is a non-wrestler, I would almost say Matthew McConaughey. Just as a non-wrestler.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just such a big fan of him in True Detective as Rustin Cole and that, and he's such a well-versed actor.
I've got to say the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and then Vanilla Ice, man. Vanilla Ice inspired me so much back in '92. I was, oh my gosh, yeah. It was Shawn Michaels and Vanilla Ice.
I feel like that's doable. Have you met Vanilla Ice?
I've had a little conversation with him back in the day. I was about to do some kind of cameo in something, but yeah, we've never been in the ring or never met in person.
When you say he inspired you, when it comes to like building your persona, like do you grab from those kinds of people or I guess on the mic is so important and he being an MC. Do you have elements of your kind of in-ring or out-of-ring persona that you grab from somebody like Vanilla Ice?
It's amazing how it worked out, man. I started like cutting my own hair like he did, and I was using a bunch of hairspray, and I still kind of look like that the first time we went to WWF. And dude, Ice became my nickname with Scott Hall. He's the first match I've ever had in WWE, and back in the day, the ring was so hard. It was a bad experience for me. But the second night, I wrestled Sean Waltman, the 1-2-3 Kid at the time, and it kind of refilled my soul to want to continue this wrestling journey. But yeah, he inspired me so much. But then Razor Ramon calling me Ice was just so cool. Every time we'd go to TV, yo, Ice, what's going on, man?
Yeah, we were just enhancement talent, and the very famous Click, which was Scott Hall, it was Shawn Michaels, it was Kevin Nash, Diesel, 1-2-3 Kid. Those guys, like they loved Jeff from that first day, and they're like, yeah, Ice, and then later on they would push. If another guy had a match, said, "Oh, you guys got to get one of those Hardy guys. They'll make you look great. They'll make you look like $1 million. Get a Hardy guy." The Click was very, very cool to us.
Jeff and Matt Hardy joining us here in studio. Our producer Dennis, I told you beforehand, is a big pro wrestling fan. I can tell on his face he wants to get in here. So Dennis, go ahead and jump in.
Well, Jeff, you mentioned your first match in WWF at the time. You were 16 years old. A lot of people don't realize that. I mean, you're like, oh, I got a math test tomorrow, but I got to go wrestle this match first. Like, what was that experience like being 16 and before you know it, you're on a national audience?
Man, it was terrifying. It was crazy terrifying. And the Italian Stallion and George South are the ones who brought us in, and I had to sign the paper and like move my birthday, up a few years or whatever. And so I just did that, but it was so terrifying.
A very funny but true story is Stallion. I had done some stuff for Italian Stallion and George South in the past, and they said, hey, we need some more guys to go to TV because they needed 14 or 15 guys, whatever. They said, do you have some more guys that could have a tryout at our show? And it was a small indie event. They went and did it, and I said, well, my brother's 16. Is he going to be able to go? He said, no, just have your dad write a note. If your dad writes a note, he'll be fine. And then once we got our dad to do that, and he wrote Jeff a note, and then once we got there, he said, hey, kid, move your birthday back 2 years. He said, so you're 18. Okay, we're going to be fine. So that was a wild story.
That does harken back to the age when like a parent's note got you anything, right? You could get out of any class, like as long as mom signed it or dad signed it, you were good to go. Even I guess jumping into professional wrestling.
Yeah, 1994, I believe it was. It was crazy.
Wow, Jeff and Matt Hardy, TNA World Tag Team Champions here in studio. Don't forget, they're going to be in Fayetteville back-to-back nights this weekend, Friday and Saturday at the Crown Arena. And obviously all the action will be on TNA's flagship weekly TV show, Impact, which airs Thursday nights, 8 p.m. on Access TV. And there will be championship matches both nights, so make sure you make it out there to at least one. Coming to Fayetteville, we were talking off air. You guys are from 35, 40 minutes, Cameron, right. North Carolina, right outside Fayetteville. Do you bring a little extra juice when you come home?
Yeah, we also bring a little extra juice when we go there because we know we can drive back and sleep in our own beds at night, which is very motivating when you've been on the road for almost 30 years like we have been. Fayetteville's great too. It also holds a very special place in our heart because that is where myself and my brother Jeff went and saw our very first professional wrestling match. Our dad took us. It was a WWE event, and the main event was Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd, which was wild. And we got to see these large athletes, and we saw a ton of NWA and WCW there. And Jeff has a great story that I love from this place.
Our dad we'd always go by Arby's and get a couple beef and cheddars before we went to the arena. And, man, I was 12 years old, and Sting came out with the neon tights, the blonde hair, the painted face. I didn't know why he painted it, but I just loved it. And I reached out and touched his shoulder, and I was like, oh, my God, I want to make somebody feel like he made me feel. And thank God, it's such a blessing I've been able to do that. But, yeah, that was the moment I knew I was going to be a pro wrestler.
Now, obviously, you guys, and it's coming across here, you're fans of the sport. You were fans before you were in it. Is there anyone that still makes you a little starstruck? Like if a wrestler, fill in the blank, walked in here right now, is there somebody that would get you a little tongue-tied?
I don't really think so.
Or have you met all your heroes and they've become peers and friends, which might be even cooler?
Yeah, which is so wild. I mean, we've wrestled. I was in a WrestleMania with Ric Flair and suplexed him off the top of the ladder in a ladder match. He said, like, you're the only guy I trust to do this with me. I mean, it's been very cool. Jeff was aligned with Hulk Hogan. We've wrestled Sting. We've worked with, and these are the guys that we looked up to. And it's so weird that now the guys who looked up to us are working with us, and they're like so excited and so jacked and so pumped. Like the first time I get to wrestle a series of matches with The Undertaker, and that was a big deal to me. That was very special. Getting to work with, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, whoever it may be. It's really cool, and they have become colleagues more than anything else.
Yeah, it's still kind of surreal for me to know that, I actually know Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. Because when I think of pro wrestling, man, as a child, I see them, it was the NWA and the WWF, and those were the two guys from each wrestling dimension that, I was like, oh my God, that's what it's all about, being like they are.
Well, I have to say one of those moments just happened, which is Matt Hardy just sat next to me and brought up a ladder match. I mean, like, if you're talking about people that are going to get excited, ladder matches, the Hardy Boys, it's I was just told my buddy that you guys were going to be on the show yesterday. He immediately sent me like a 30-minute YouTube video, which was pretty much just you guys doing ridiculous stuff off of ladders. And it's athletic. It's a little crazy, if I'm being honest. Did you guys at any point in time think maybe like, I kind of wish our signature wasn't throwing ourselves 35 feet in the air and landing on these guys, because we're putting our bodies through some real heck here?
Yeah, I definitely took steps to try and change that to some degree. But I mean, the Hardy Boys and the Hardys are always going to be synonymous with ladders. And it's so cool. We've been doing this for 33 years. This is year 33 one right now. We just won these tag team titles just a couple weeks ago, and it was basically a TLC match. It was a Full Metal Mayhem match that had tables, ladders, and chairs, and it was nuts. He still did a swanton off a 14-foot-high ladder and dropped someone through a table. I did a leg drop off a 10-foot ladder and put someone through a table. So we're still kind of hanging and doing our thing. But like,
does that ever become normal? Like, or do you get the same rush when you do it each and every time?
Yeah, I think I still feel it. I still feel the rush. I still feel the excitement. But it does become commonplace, which is strange. But I've also tried to work outside of my character of Matt Hardy of the Hardy Boys, and I've done some stuff like Broken Matt Hardy, which I did at TNA, and he was Brother Nero, and it was very much more theatrical and thought through, and it became like a big deal. It was one of the greatest times of my career because it was such a viral character.
Yeah, and the one we just had with TNA when we won these championships was a Full Metal Mayhem reimagined match, because I painted everything up, the tables, the chairs, the ladders, and the ring canvas was the toughest challenge of it all, but I painted them all up very abstract, and just to see all that come to life was so rewarding, especially winning the titles after that match. And it was almost like I was in a Tim Burton movie or a different dimension, like looking at all this artwork on it was wild, but it was so rewarding. And man, it's my comfort zone. I think it always will be. Those extreme type matches, but it's very scary to be a 47-year-old human being still climbing up to a 14-foot ladder and trying to balance on the top of it and do this and then jump and put somebody through a table.
I can tell you that the fans still get the same. If you guys it's commonplace for you, the fans, every time you walk up there, you feel it. Dennis, what do you got?
Speaking of those TLC matches, you guys made that famous actually right here in Raleigh, which is now known as Lenovo Center. How special is it to not only make it such a big thing, but having done it right basically in your backyard in a state with such a deep wrestling history?
Yeah, no, that was a great time, and we were so honored and proud to be doing it in Raleigh. We actually knew they were going to have that SummerSlam, and to give you a little behind-the-scenes info, it had been set since WrestleMania of that year where we were in a triangle ladder match, which was in essence kind of the first TLC match because we used all those different inanimate objects, myself, Edge and Christian, myself, Jeff, Edge, Christian, and the Dudleys. But we were supposed to win the match in Raleigh. And then, like, the night before, maybe 36 hours before, Vince McMahon contacted us. He said, you know what? He said, everybody knows you're going to win. It's too obvious. We're in Raleigh. This is your home. We can't do it. We can't do it. And I was like, well, sometimes the correct answer is to give the people the payday they want, and make them happy. He said, we'll do it at the next pay-per-view. We'll do it at the next pay-per-view. And we ended up doing it in Philadelphia in a steel cage. And we did win the match. But, still to this day, I really wish we would have got our big win here in Raleigh at home. And I think just the crowd, and they would have went nuts.
That was a very special one to me because I'd always seen that for the longest time in my mind, like two people hanging up there where the titles were, and that's when we finally got to do that, and it was just so cool to pull that off. And even it makes me think of the spear that Edge gave to me as I was up there. Such a classic, immortal moment now in pro wrestling. It's just, it's the X Games of pro wrestling in my opinion, and I'm so glad that we've been a part of that.
So I mean, the behind-the-scenes stuff, as soon as you say you have a cool behind-the-scenes story, I'm immediately like, cool, I'm going to sit back here and listen to it. You guys have the autobiography from however many years ago, super successful. We just got the Iron Claw with the Von Erichs. When are we looking at the Hollywood biopic about your family and your trip through wrestling? When's that coming?
I'm excited for it, no doubt. I was a big fan of the Von Erich stuff, and it's funny. My wife kind of knew the story, but like she didn't realize how many of the brothers, and she was just like, "Oh my God, like this was great storytelling," but it was awful. It was awful, and it's very cool that we could have a movie that they could release like that, and there would be some ups and downs. Some guys fell or they hit lows, but then they rise up, and then ultimately ours ends up with a fairy tale happy ending, which is very cool. And we're so grateful and appreciative of TNA because we've been put in a fantastic position to succeed during this run, and that's kind of what we wanted. And for the last couple of years, we didn't necessarily get that, but we have here at TNA, and our goal is to help TNA grow as much as possible, help it expand, help it get a better TV platform, and their TNA Plus app, which is like their network, is doing great, and we want to help young talent too. That's what we want to do. We also want to give back and at the same time stay relevant.
Well, let's push in that because I love doing kind of like fake promos, right? Like cutting fake promos, like I think most people enjoy. Mine always comes out, a couple names you guys mentioned, it's like a half impression of Hulk Hogan and a half impression of Macho Man because, they're so iconic.
Yes.
If you're giving advice to somebody trying to make a name for themselves, but obviously you got to be unique, you have to be what's the advice for the next generation who's trying to carve out their own niche in this giant sport?
Well, I always just say, and it's very challenging and tough, but authenticity, to be authentic is something very challenging these days, just to do something new and fresh. It hasn't been done. So much has been done, but I always say, originality is where it's at, man. There's something out there, you just got to find it.
Yeah, and I say that too. Just try and be creative, and if you can be you with the volume turned up to an 11 or 12. I mean, that really usually comes off as genuine. It comes off as real. So that's what I try and encourage people to do. If you go out there and you play some sort of character that you're not comfortable with, the crowds are so smart now. They'll see through it. They'll see through it, and they know that you're not comfortable doing it.
We're talking with the Hardy Boys, TNA World Tag Team Champions, pro wrestling legends, and obviously North Carolina natives, Jeff and Matt Hardy, joining us here in studio. They'll be in Fayetteville, back-to-back nights of high-energy pro wrestling, Friday and Saturday, Crown Arena. Go ahead and check it out. I want to ask this because AJ Francis is a TNA wrestler, and I have a couple buddies that actually played at the University of Maryland on the football team with AJ. He had some runs in the NFL. For somebody like that who's jumping into TNA and bumping shoulders with legends, he obviously brings some athleticism and has some personality, but turning him into a wrestler is different than turning him into a defensive lineman for the Cardinals. You're seeing more and more of that. There's always been the Goldbergs or whatever, the guys that come from football, but you're seeing more and more of the recruiting out of the college sports world. Is that the right way to go about it, breeding the next generation to grab these massive athletes in maybe team sports or college wrestling and turn them into wrestlers? Or is it to go your style? I mean, you started at 16 as a wrestler and then grew into the legends you became.
Yeah, I mean, I think if someone loves wrestling and they're passionate about it, and you can tell that AJ was, you can also tell that Moose is another guy who's a prime member of our roster. Those guys are incredible athletes, and AJ is like deceptively huge. We just had a match with him recently, and we gave him a double suplex off the top turnbuckle, and I was just like, God, this is a huge man, a huge body of mass. And Moose is absolutely incredible. You can tell when you get in the ring with people that are like really diehard athletes that they are very athletic. Like, one of the scariest people I've ever been in the ring with is Brock Lesnar because he was just so real.
That tracks.
He's like one of those guys you're like, I certainly wouldn't want him upset at me, where we legitimately had to like duke it out. Kurt Angle, there's been so many great athletes like that. But if someone truly loves pro wrestling and they're passionate about it, yeah, I say go for it.
Can you give us a story maybe where you wanted your fist to be 2 inches to the right, you miss a little bit, and then someone is upset at you?
Yeah, I can give you one story. I was doing something when I was a bad guy, and I was running down to the ring, and I was going to attack Brock Lesnar from the back. And we're going to end up throwing him in the ring, and the Big Show was there, and we were going to get on him a little bit, and I had a match with him after that. So we're running down, and Brock had been on the road. He'd been grinding very hard. He said, hey, whatever you do, he said, don't hit me in my ribs. He said, because my ribs are sore and they hurt. He said, just hit me at the top of my back. Don't hit me in my ribs. I was like, oh, okay, fine. And I come down and I swing, very, very hard, and I get him high, but he leaned his head back, and I cut the back of his head, and it gashed him open to his skull. Which I obviously
it's not the ribs, right? I paid attention.
I did. I didn't hit his ribs. We got him in the ring, but then I came back. And I had a match with him 10 minutes later, and Vince McMahon was like trying to calm him down. He's like, "What?" He's like cursing and screaming and pacing, and I'm like, "This man may kill me." And it was live TV too, so it's like we're going out here and just. He was very aggressive, very brutal. He was totally safe though, but it was ultra aggressive. I was prepared to try and fight for my life if I had to.
I did the same thing with Ken Anderson when I was the world champion, I think, in TNA, and I was the only time I've ever been a heel in pro wrestling. I was the Antichrist of pro wrestling, and I was aiming for his left shoulder, and I thought for sure I could just hit his shoulder perfectly. Same thing, man. Back of the head, cut up, and just blood everywhere. And I was, it's always scary when that happens. Before I forget, though, AJ's a rapper as well, in music, and I just did my first little concert with Joe Hendry, last TV tapings, and so I'm really excited about maybe the three of us doing something together moving forward. But Friday night after the TNA wrestling show, immediately after, I'm going to do a concert with my Carolina guitar player. So there's going to be some Jeff Hardy original songs performed before our meet and greet.
Cool. There you go. There's going to be a little bonus activity. If you come out on Friday, you see a free Jeff Hardy concert.
Hey, send it over to us. We'll play it. We'll promote that kind of stuff. I know we're running out of time here, and I want to give you time to promote everything going on in Fayetteville. But when we're talking about the future of wrestling, I think one of the biggest differences is the social media thing.
Sure.
It used to be, and I don't know if you guys saw it this way, but when you left the arena, like, you were kind of gone, right? And our imagination could say you were doing anything we wanted you to do when you were away. You could still be feuding, you could not, you could do whatever. Now the social, it's 24/7. What are the challenges, or how is that changing wrestling?
So social media is tough because, like, if you have guys that want to adhere to a certain character, I mean, you really have to like abide by that. And social media can be challenging, especially if they think you're some like special, tough, hard thing, and they see like a different image of you on social media. Like
someone snaps a picture of you at Dunkin' Donuts, and now it's like, oh, you weren't mean enough to me in the drive-thru.
Exactly. And there's times like when I first started doing Broken Matt Hardy, I told Jeff, I said, "Hey man, like, I'd like you to put me through this table, from a really high distance. And I'm gonna act like something broke in my head. I was broken in my brain, and maybe it allows me to release like more potential. I realize that I can use more of my brain than I used to, or whatever. And then I'm gonna try and be either like the supernatural character, or I'm just gonna be completely crazy." And then once I started doing it, every interview I would do would always be in character. You know what I mean? And I would not come out of it. TNA wanted me to do an interview with Dave Meltzer, like some series, because I was very hot at that time. And I was like, well, if it's going to be 30, 40 minutes, whatever, I'm never coming out of the character. I'm going to talk about being 2,000 years old. I'm going to be talking with my funny British accent. I said, and I'm like not abandoning it, because as soon as you do abandon it, then like the disbelief that is going on with that character kind of fades away.
Man, social media is a weird one. I started using it a lot because I do an acoustic show about once a month, and I started, promoting my music gigs with these little videos on Instagram and everything. But then there was one point when we were still in AEW, I was like, man, maybe I could be a heel on social media. Like, I think I understand this stuff, and I ended up saying stuff that was probably offensive or whatever. But no, I'm just being a heel on social media. So it didn't really work out, but it did work out in the long run. I got a few matches, and before my nose got broke, man, I was starting to feel that love for the craft again. So that match we had with First Class, that's when I kind of felt that sensation again. Oh my God, I still got some, man. I still got some left in me, and this is going to be great. So it's nice to have fun in the ring again. So
yeah.
That's Jeff and Matt Hardy, who you just heard. All of the in-ring action in North Carolina this weekend, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Friday and Saturday, November 8th and 9th, Crown Arena. It's on TNA's flagship weekly show, Impact, Thursday nights, 8 on Access TV. Guys, is there anything you want the people to know, right? This is your home state. You're performing for your home crowd, your hometown in Fayetteville. What kind of show are they going to get?
It's going to be an amazing show. TNA right now is so white hot. We're on a great streak of sellouts. We've had full venues. We've been doing business very smart, and I think myself and Jeff, we have contributed to that effect. And
you don't have to be humble here. You cut a promo if you want to. Go ahead.
Joe Hendry is like he is the most white-hot wrestler in all pro wrestling right now. He's just organically getting over and viral with the fans, and he's great. We've been working with him some, but he's been such a breath of fresh air for TNA. And there's also this very cool crossover that they're doing between TNA and NXT and WWE. And who knows who shows up from NXT or WWE at these Fedville tapings too, because there's a lot of unpredictability around the product, and we love that. I can tell you this, we're going to be wrestling both nights. Friday night you'll see the Hardys in action. Saturday night you'll see the Hardys in action, and we plan on defending these titles. We are going to be the greatest defending champions, and we really want to cement our legacy and show and prove to the world, make them remember who we are, that we're one of the greatest teams to ever do this.
Yeah, and there's this one guy, man, Matt can help me with his name, but he kind of, I was an influence to his career and him wanting to be the way he is now, but he's just amazing. It's like watching a
Leon
video.
Slater.
Yeah, he does a swanton 450. So he's got that grace of the swanton and then tucks into a complete rotation and splashes a guy. It's incredible.
Dennis was signaling me, so one more question here before we get you out of here.
Yeah, you guys mentioned the crossover sometimes with TNA, NXT, and even AEW's had a crossover with TNA in the past. What does that say about the health of the business right now that these promotions can have these different crossovers where you never know who's going to show up on a given night?
I think it's extremely positive, and I think it is beneficial for the industry. And especially, I feel like the NXT and the TNA crossover has been being done just the exact correct way. You know what I mean? They're taking care of each other. They make each other's company seem big, seem important, seem like it's a very important place to go. And I do dig that. And I think younger people that are just trying to get some notoriety behind their name, I think it helps them out and makes them look like bigger stars. So I'm a big fan of what Shawn Michaels is doing at NXT right now. And I think Triple H is also doing a great job running WWE, but I love the crossover thing. And on top of that, too, the people that are running TNA, they're doing a fantastic job telling stories and like booking from the opening of the show to the end of the show stories and stuff that is compelling and wants to get you emotionally invested in it.
Yeah, and I feel like broken Matt Hardy could come back real quick and create this portal from TNA into NXT, and then who knows what might happen after that.
2,000-year-old dudes can do a little bit of anything.
Yes.
Right? We appreciate you for stopping by and have a great show this weekend.
Thank you so much, man. It's going to be fun. Friday, Saturday. Let's rock.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly coming up next. We have Nick Swardson, but first, need to tell you all about Capital Financial Advisory Group. Tim Donnelly here for Capital Financial. Right now, Coach Pete will help you regain control of your foundation for retirement and see you to and through a worry-free retirement. Call now for Coach Pete's famous and elaborate total retirement plan. If you call in right now and tell him you heard about it here from Tim on 99.9 The Fan, you'll not only get your retirement plan, but the 7 Baby Steps box set for free. Call them at 800-691-3215. That's 800-691-3215. Or you can just text my name, Tim, to 600-700. That's Tim to 600-700. As I mentioned, comedian Nick Swardson will join us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline next. Don't go anywhere.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Add the Bengals to the list of teams that Belichick could potentially go to after this season. I think Zach Taylor's actually done a pretty good job up until this year. Give Belichick Burrow.
You're going to blame Zach Taylor for this?
It's not his fault.
I didn't say it was, but what are you going to do? I'm telling you, add the Bengals to the list of teams.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
'Tis the season for family and friends. 'Tis the season for gifting. And 'tis the season for making holiday dreams come true. 'Tis the season for using the old-timey contraction 'tis. And 'tis the time of year for holiday scratch-offs. With over $85 million in total prizes, 'tis the best gift of all.
'Tis the season to gift endless joy with holiday scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.06 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, everything for the exterior of your home. Do you have a favorite?
I have a favorite, yeah.
I want to hear
it. So windows, doors are my favorite products. The reason why is because we are the best at installing them. You know, there's 1,000 different types of windows on the market, doors on the market, different people installing them, different companies. I don't care how good a window you get. If it's not installed properly, it's not going to do you a bit of good. I always tell people, if you buy a submarine window, the best one in the world, and you have me put it on a submarine, you don't want to get in that submarine.
I don't want to get in the submarine either way.
I hear you. So anyway, so that's the thing I say. So it's really important that you have things installed properly. We've been around since 1961. We've got a 4.9 out of 5-star Google review ratings, over 800 reviews. Give us a call. We'll come out and give you a free no-obligation estimate.
It's the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online at aluminumcompany.com.
Train heating and cooling systems are engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
He appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Cause you love him in London and Paris and Tokyo.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dennis with the rejoin music that makes sense following the conversation we just had with Jeff and Matt Hardy, pro wrestling legends.
They mentioned Joe Hendry, one of the hottest guys in all pro wrestling.
By the way, if you want to catch that, that'll be up on our YouTube channel again. They will also be on tomorrow morning with Paul Ihander and Graham Hill on Next Up from 9 to 10. They'll be somewhere in there, so you can catch them a few different ways. Jeff and Matt Hardy on our little family of networks here and on our station. And you could catch them in the ring this Friday and Saturday, November 8th and 9th, at the Crown Arena in Fayetteville, which is pretty much a home game for them, so it'll be a really, really cool atmosphere. We're expecting here in the next minute or two, Heister Automotive Group Hotline. Joining us will be Nick Swardson, comedian, actor, writer, producer. You know him from movies like Grown Ups 2, Just Go With It, a whole bunch of Adam Sandler movies, Grandma's Boy, which is one of the funnier movies if you are of my generation from our like middle school, high school era. Benchwarmers, Rob Schneider vehicle there, and he also stole the show multiple times on the hit television show Reno 911. He has an extensive stand-up comedy touring background. His Toilet Head tour stops in Durham at the Carolina Theater this Friday. Get tickets on carolinatheater.org or nickswartzen.net. His new special, Make Joke From Face, is available on Amazon Prime and YouTube now. And I think that's all the intro we need. Nick Swardson joining us now in the Heister Automotive Group Hotline. Nick, thank you very much for taking the time. Big fan here. So I'm excited you're coming to the area in Durham this weekend. I was doing some research on you. Like I said, big fan, but I feel like so many of us just watch the movies, watch the stand-up, and don't know the story. You started stand-up comedy in your teens, and by age 20, this is all according to your Wikipedia, so correct me if I'm wrong, you were chosen for the U.S. Comedy Arts Festival, which is a pretty quick rise in a notoriously grinding, tough business of stand-up. Do you remember maybe the bit or the joke that you wrote that made everybody go, oh, this kid has it, and you felt kind of your life change?
This isn't Nick. This is Terry from Reno 911.
That would have worked as well.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, talk about life-changing. I'm sure that one put you in a whole bunch of conversations.
Dude, that got me in a whole world of roller skating prostitution. I did not plan on that.
They say art imitates life. Is that where you were coming from going into the show?
No, they say art imitates sharks.
Oh,
and that's what did it for me.
All right.
No, yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I started stand-up. A lot of people don't even know I do stand-up, which is really weird. They know me from movies and TV. So people listening, people that have seen Grandma's Boy, bench warmers, all that, Reno 911. Yeah, I've done stand-up for 30 years, so that's just a side note. But yeah, I did well really early on. And one of my first bits that I did, I was about 19, and my big home run joke was imitating a cat vomiting.
Do you care to dust that one off for us?
I mean, it's pretty physical, but okay. I'll try the sound effect. But this was my goal. I'll even dust it off for Raleigh and Durham because I love Raleigh, Durham. So I'm very excited to come back. But it went like this. I was like, have you ever seen a cat vomit? Really good setup.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go, you always hear it first. Like you're always on the couch watching TV and you'll hear like, and it's like everybody knows that sound. And then you just have to get there before it just all hell breaks loose, and it's like, and then it just all of a sudden the mystery of what the cat ate.
And from
like a
that,
trick.
just rocket ship to the Nick Swardson we know in the Hollywood movies and everything.
That was all. That was all it took. I became huge across the world with humans and cats.
And you're rubbing shoulders with the legends. I was again preparing for this on your Instagram today, and I saw that about a week ago you posted a picture of yourself. I think it was on an airplane with one of my favorite comedians of all time, the late great Norm Macdonald. What made you post that picture, and can you give us one of your favorite Norm stories, because they're one of my favorite genre of stories in the world?
Yes, I always kind of do Norm throwbacks. He was a really good friend, and you know, the hard thing about comedy, I've been in it for so long, and I've had a lot of my friends pass away, and that's kind of the really weird part about comedy. I mean, people from Mitch Hedberg to Greg Giraldo. I mean, there's so many. Louis Anderson was a really good friend. Norm and Louis passed around the same time. And, yeah, Norm was just one of those guys. I mean, all those people that I mentioned are so unique and really brilliant. But Norm was like, he was almost like an alien. Like, I never really, even though I was one of his close friends, and I still was like, what are you talking about? Like, even in day-to-day life, he would call me, and he'd be like, hey, Swarty, it's Norm. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know. I have your number saved in my phone. And also, like, nobody sounds like you. I'm not going to, be like, expect you to be like, hey, Swarty, it's your mom. You know what I mean?
You do a good Norm, by the way.
Yeah, I would hope so. I spend a lot of time with the guy. But I do a lot of Norm stories on stage, so I'll save some of the ones. But yeah, no, he was. I'm trying to think of another one I can tell, but
no, that's fine. That's actually a fan. We're in the radio business. We're all about the tease. That's a fantastic tease to get everybody out to Durham and the Carolina Theater on Friday. If you say there's going to be close friend Norm stories, I think people will show up, and they can get their tickets at carolinatheater.org or nickswartzen.net. We'll go to another.
Yeah, it's a really fun show. Sorry, not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's just escapism. It's laughter. I don't care if you're a Blue Devil or a Tar Heel. Everybody's welcome.
All right, just not Bears fans, right? I hear you're a Vikings fan.
Yes, I'm a diehard Vikings fan.
So no Packers fans, I guess, would be the way to go with that.
I mean, they show up. They're like roaches. They appear under seats. I mean, it's gross. But
well, let's stick on the sports thing. I see you're listed in IMDb on Happy Gilmore 2 in the cast. Sports show, sports movies, one of the greatest. Can you give us an insider detail that the public is craving for when it comes to Happy Gilmore 2?
Nope. I swear to God, I am not allowed to say anything about it. I had kind of said some stuff in when I was on the Rich Eisen show,
mm-hmm.
and then I immediately Netflix and Sandler. And everybody called me, and they're like, dude, you can't say anything. So I can't say anything. I will only say this. It's really, really funny. There's great cameos and that's all I can say. But it's really, really funny. It's hard. I can't give anything away because there's stuff, any even small thing I say might give something away. So it's very exciting. And Sandler is one of my good friends, obviously. I've worked with him for almost 20 years. And he was offered Happy Gilmore 2 for a long time and never pounced on it. And then he called me and he's like, hey, I'm going to do it. So for him to go forward, you know it's going to be good. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't step into those sacred waters if it weren't worth it. You know what I mean?
So you brought up you and Sandler working together for all of the decades now. It seems like his friends, obviously, he casts in a whole bunch of different ways. Was there a Sandler movie role that you maybe really wanted that he gave to someone else? Like, is there a role that you're jealous of Spade or Schneider or one of these guys, and you thought you would have been the one?
Not really. I mean, he knows us really well, especially those guys. So anything that he thinks of, he knows this person is the right for it. You know what I mean? And I'm also a writer for him. So I remember when he brought me in first on a movie called Grandma's Boy.
Awesome. Heard of it, and it's legendary for me and all my friends. Just to
oh, great.
pass that
Thank
along.
you. And then so Sandler brought me in, and I'm a writer. So he was like, hey, rewrite this movie, make it insane, and create a role for yourself. So I created that character for me. And I did the same thing with Benchwarmers. He's like, I have an idea for a movie. I want you to write it with me and create a character for yourself. So I created Howie from Benchwarmers. And so, you know, stuff like that I had an integral part in. But then, like, Grown Ups 2, where I was a bus driver, Just Go With It, you know, he gave me that part. And those roles I loved, especially Just Go With It. That was one of my favorites because it was such a fun, bizarre, where I played, it's like, I was a sheep. I didn't even know what really I was doing. I remember he called me, and he goes, hey, it's Sandler. What are you doing? And I go, I'm at dinner. And he goes, I got an idea. Can you do a German accent? And I go, I don't know, like this? I eat some food and then get a beer. And he goes, yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. And then he just hung up and then called me the next day, and he goes, yeah, we're doing a movie, you and me and Jennifer Aniston in Hawaii. And I was like, oh, that's a great phone call to get. I was like, yeah, game on.
I also love how all your friends have some of the most recognizable voices in history, and they all call and introduce themselves when they get on the phone with you.
Yeah, I know they're all bizarros.
Just a little MythBusters here. Is the legend of the car gifts from Adam Sandler to his buddies that work on movies with him true? It's on the internet, and I just want to kind of clarify it or not.
Okay, that is true. And here's one thing I was jealous of is I was in Grown Ups 2.
Okay.
So all the guys in Grown Ups 1 all got cars. In Grown Ups 2, nobody got a car, and I was only in Grown Ups 2. So I was like, he didn't even give me like a Hot Wheels or even like a toy car. I didn't get even an album from the Cars. I didn't get anything with car involved. So I was really mad at that.
It's hard to complain to the guy that took you and Jen Aniston to Hawaii, though. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, no, that worked out pretty well. But yeah, and then the guys all got rid of their cars. He bought a Maseratis, and Spade was uncomfortable in his, so he traded it out. And then Rob Schneider wanted a Prius, so he traded his Maserati out for an eco-friendly car.
Well, different strokes for different folks on that one. I think there's a lot of people that would have kept the Maserati.
Yeah.
Nick Swardson, one more for you here, and it's comedian, actor, writer, producer. We've talked about a bunch of the movies and TV shows that Nick has been in. He's coming to Durham, his Toilet Heads tour of stand-up comedy. Durham at the Carolina Theater on Friday. Tickets available, carolinatheater.org or nickswartzen.net. We touched on it, but big Vikings fan. And you touched on you've had a little bit of a relationship with sports media personalities like Rich Eisen. I saw on Twitter you were calling them out to acknowledge the Vikings when they were 5-0. They've lost 2 of their last 3. Are we still all in on the hype for the Vikings this year?
All in, 100%. Let's keep in mind, ESPN, by the way, they're so obnoxiously focused on the Cowboys. I don't understand if Jerry Jones has a share in the ESPN network, but it's mind-blowing to me. So anyway, that's a side note of me being annoyed.
That's fair.
Second one, congratulations on the Panthers beating the Saints. What kind of spiral downfall have the Saints started 2-0, and now they've lost the last 7?
And I can't tell you how happy it makes Panthers fans that they were the last kick to a whole changing, coach firing, players traded. That's one of the few bright spots of the Panthers season.
Yeah, no, so congratulations on that. And then the Vikings are real legit because our only 2 losses are the Lions that look phenomenal, and they've destroyed people, and we could have totally won that game. And then the Rams, we totally could have won that game. So those were very close games. Also, Darnold's not getting any roughing the passer calls, which is insane. but, whatever. I don't live and die by calls. But, yeah, we're real legit. We're not being talked about anymore, but we're real legit.
I love it. Spoken like a true fan. Nick, we appreciate you for joining us here, and have a great show on Friday when you come through the area.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for having me, man. Can't wait.
Once again, Nick Swardson, comedian, actor, writer, producer, and apparently massive Vikings fan, and he just proved his bona fides with those complaints right there. That's a legit fan right there. And he is coming to Durham, Carolina Theater on Friday. Tickets available, nickswardson.net. You can also check out his Make Joke from Face special, stand-up comedy, Amazon Prime and YouTube, out now. We'll take a break. When we come back, the starting five here on The Drive. Don't go anywhere.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
The Blue Devils up 21-20, and they got their arms reaching for that bell.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low fives, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their express equity line of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com, free rate quote now, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Morning people wake up for peace and quiet. McDonald's breakfast people, we wake up for the sweet rush of getting that warm, delicious breakfast right before it ends.
Enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with a fluffy egg for only $2.50. Be a McDonald's breakfast person. Get the most important deal of the day right after you wake up. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Oh, the NBA is back, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason, because they want you to catch all the action. And right now, FanDuel giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you got to do to catch every tip-off, every buzzer beater, every dunk is place any $5 wager on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel and me. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold and make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Make every moment more. FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We had record heat today. We have another warm one tomorrow, and then a little cooler for the weekend. Rain develops tonight, 65 the low. A chance for rain tomorrow, mostly cloudy, the high 81. A little cooler Friday, the high 77.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell up 1,508 points to 43,729.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting 5. And as always, we start with number 5.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Boise State being in the top 12 is important. I think you guys mentioned this, but college football fans need to know that if the 5th highest ranked conference champion is out, they would be bumping out a 12th team. But there's the flip side to it. They could be one of the 4 highest ranked conference champions and earn a first round bye.
Who are you calling out, Heather Dinich? Which 4 of the Power 4 conferences do you think Boise State might be able to pass? Who you at them then? I'm talking subtweets. The first college the first college football playoff committee, first college football playoff rankings put out by the committee of this season is not great for those teams that are not in the SEC, in the Big Ten, Notre Dame, or Boise State. If you are Big 12, if you are ACC, it's pretty obvious you're not getting the name recognition points that some other groups are, and that's tough. It's going to be something that is going to linger over the college football playoff rankings. Ward Manuel, who is the chair of the committee, he spoke to the media after the first rankings were put out. He was the mouthpiece for the committee, like he spoke for them. He said Miami is above BYU. Now I'm talking ACC is benefiting from this. So as an ACC, I'll call myself an ACC homer. This is coming from a relatively objective standpoint because what I hope to the people that I hope to benefit are benefiting from this. But Miami is over BYU. He was asked about it because they're both undefeated. BYU has more ranked wins and less close games, right? Less shaky victories, if you will. So why is Miami over BYU by 4 spots? Fourth all the way down to 9th. I think it is 5 spots. His response was the offensive prowess of Miami, and it came down to the eye test. I don't love that. Part of the reason I love team sports is there's a scoreboard. I'm better than you. No, you're better than me. No, that's not how you argue. I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you. All right, let's play. Whoever wins, scoreboard is final. I don't like sports where there are judges involved. I don't like sports where it comes down to somebody's opinion. I thought you stuck the landing better than you. More points to this person, even if you do the same trick. I don't like that. Saying it's the eye test, that's subjective. Saying you've beaten better opponents more soundly, saying you've had less close calls, that's fact. When I ask the committee, why is this team over that team, I want them to have an answer. Well, it was their game against Cal that came down to the wire, and Cal is a team that's well below 500. That knocked them down a few pegs. Thus, this other team was above them. That's factual. Saying, well, I watched the games and I like the way they play. That's scary to me. Now, even though the ACC benefit in that situation that I was talking about, Miami over BYU, they've now set the tone that it's subjective. And when the rubber meets the road, when the tough decisions happen later in the year, when SMU is either 11th and in the playoff or 13th and out of the playoff, do you think they're going to get in, or do you think they're going to give the 5th SEC team a shot or the 5th Big Ten team a shot and then sit back and go, it's just like when we put Miami over BYU. It's the eye test. That's what scares me. And the same is true for the Big 12. The same is true for, I would even say, like, Vanderbilt should be worried. Vanderbilt gets, and I'm using them as a example of a lesser big-name SEC team. If LSU and Vanderbilt have nearly identical records, LSU's getting in.
Probably.
And they're just going to say it's the eye test. And how do you argue that?
So is the only hope for the ACC to get 2 teams in is SMU wins out, they're 11-1, Miami wins out, they're 12-0, and SMU beats them in the ACC championship game. SMU gets an automatic bid, and then Miami's still in the top 10.
The
I don't say that's the only way.
That might be the best way.
The best way is to have, really it doesn't matter. SMU could lose the rest of their games. Somebody go to the ACC championship and beat a previously undefeated Miami. If Miami is undefeated going into the ACC championship, I don't think they get knocked out. They might get knocked from, third in the country to ninth. I don't think they get knocked out with a loss.
Yeah.
So if it's SMU, if it's Clemson, if it's whoever is in the ACC championship game, if they win the ACC championship game, it's an auto bid. It's an automatic bid. You can't knock them out. So that's the guarantee way to get 2 teams in. If SMU rolls from this point forward and then loses to Miami close in the ACC championship game, I wouldn't be surprised if they get in even with Miami undefeated and the bye and all that kind of stuff. That was number 5. Let's get to number 4.
At the end of the day,
1, 2, 3, 4 all together.
There's been some away from the field of competition stories in sports over the last handful of days that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about them, so let's just run through them real quick. Joel Embiid suspended 3 games for an altercation with a reporter in the locker room after a recent game. The reporter, I think, crossed the line. The reporter wrote a story that basically said Joel Embiid's brother died the first year Joel Embiid was on the Sixers. It was a car accident his rookie year, and Joel Embiid has since named his first son after his brother. And the report basically said you want to leave a legacy and be great to honor your late brother and leave something for your son, yet you're showing up out of shape and not playing in many games. And Joel Embiid took issue with that. You go look up the article, by the way. That's a paraphrase, but that's the gist. If you're going to bring up somebody's dead family member in regards to a conversation about sports, I think you're going to have to put up with what happens. And by the way, I'm not advocating or condoning what Joel Embiid did. I think he can handle that better, and I think he has a microphone that can do a lot to a reporter. If he would have just, heck, he could come on this show or any podcast or show in the country and get a point across that would very much make that reporter feel his wrath. But still, I mean, I don't know what's going on with a bunch of people having to defend their family recently. But yeah, I guess don't get physical. Everything else, I'm there with you. Mike Gundy, the head coach of Oklahoma State, was complaining about negative fans of the Oklahoma State football program, and he went much further than I think anybody wanted him to. Here's the audio.
And in most cases, the people that are negative and voicing their opinion are the same ones that can't pay their own bills. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not taking care of their own family. They're not taking care of their own job, but they have an obligation to speak out and complain about others because it makes them feel better. But then in the end, when they go to bed at night, they're the same failure that they were before they said anything negative about anybody else.
Whoa. People that are critical of your football program can't support their families is where you went with that? This is not the same, but you don't think there's smart people out there with good careers that would criticize a team that is dead last in the Big 12 at 0-6 in conference and 0-3 at home and 0-3 on the road, and they're 3-6 overall and are not playing good football? You think only deadbeat, like, you're factually incorrect, and even if you were near correct, it's not the right thing to say. Yikes. Arizona State just lit you up 42-21. Maybe focus on that. Ollie Gordon came in as one of the most exciting running backs in the country. He has 2 100-yard games out of your 9 games. Maybe focus on that, Coach. Control what you can control.
Hey, just because I live paycheck to paycheck doesn't mean I can't be critical of what you're doing with your team.
Yeah, doesn't mean I'm not right.
Doesn't mean I'm not right. Yeah, first of all, tell me I'm wrong.
Irregardless, whatever the word is, of what you think about my lifestyle, your offense is anemic. That is factual. That's another way to go about it. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Pistol set, 1st and 10 from the 6. Takes the snap, turns and gives to Waters. Watch out, he has a crease over the 20-yard line. He could break it 30. Pulls away 40. Jordan Waters 50. Pulling away now to the 30. One man to beat 20. To the 10. Waters goes 94 yards.
NC State, that was the dagger, if you will, for Jordan Waters and the NC State offense against Stanford over the weekend. Duke at Stanford on Saturday. 2 triangle teams going. Actually, this is the question I want to ask. This is a look ahead, right? It's a Wednesday. We can talk big picture stuff. The closer we get to the weekend, we can dive into the nitty gritty. On the surface, these are 2 programs moving in opposite directions this year. I want to ask if that's true. Duke is on a 2-game losing streak. NC State is on a 2-game winning streak. So the simple logic would say State arrow up, Duke arrow down. However, State is on a 2-game winning streak against 2 of the 3 worst teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference in Stanford and Cal. Duke is on a 2-game losing streak against 2 of the 3 best teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference. You might say the 2 best teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference in SMU and Miami. Duke, I was saying this off air, and it's one of the things that frustrates me about sports in general. Like if the number 4 team and the number 2 team in the country play against each other, and the number 4 team loses on a last-second field goal to the number 2 team in the country, I never understood why the number 4 team would then fall to like 9th in the rankings. Because I was always going like, no, your rankings were right. If that's the second best team in the country and you lose on a last-second field goal, you probably should be around 4th. Like you got it, everybody stays. So if Duke is, say, the 4th best team in the ACC, I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying if they were, losing by, 1 to SMU, who's the 2nd best team in the ACC, and then having a double-digit lead in the second half against Miami, who's the 1st best team in the ACC? Is that not what they were supposed to do? And if you're NC State, you could be anywhere from the 4th worst to the best team in the ACC, and you'd be expected to beat Stanford and Cal. So the momentum of these 2 teams, I think, is interesting because winning inherently fills the sails of your boat, right? Winning inherently makes you feel better. Losing inherently makes you feel worse. But I'm not sure either is doing anything exceptionally great or exceptionally bad over the last handful of weeks. They'll get to test each other on the field, Carter Finley Stadium, on Saturday. We'll talk more about it as it gets closer. That's number 3. Let's go ahead and jump to number 2.
Just the 2 of us. Go Kiniemi. He's got real estate. Lets the shot go. Save pulls up. Rebound. Necas. He scores! Marty Necas is beyond hot. And with 29.3 seconds, the 2nd star of the week puts Carolina 5-4.
Canes won their 7th straight game of the early season last night as they beat the Flyers at home. This is one of those games. I call it a zoom out game. It is completely different the more words you use. Okay, so if somebody says, "Hey, how'd the Canes play last night?" and you just go, "Hey, they won," that's great. All right, but if you had to use another sentence, "Hey, they won 6-4," hey, that's great.
All right, 6 goals, like it.
You go on a little bit further. Hey, they won 6-4. It was tied 4-4 halfway through the 3rd period. You're like, whoa, okay, so it was close. And then eventually, if you keep expanding it, you get to, hey, they won. They were up 3-1, then gave up a furious comeback. Then they're in that, by the way, was a young goaltender making a few very, I would say, sketchy save attempts that ended with goals. And then in the last minute, after allowing that full comeback, they scored from Martin Necas, maybe the hottest player in hockey, and got an empty netter as an insurance goal 30 seconds later. And you're like, whoa, that game was crazy. And you could keep going and going and going and giving more and more and more details until you've written a 10,000-word paper about it. And you'll, by the time you're done reading it, you'll be out of breath. So, yes, give them credit for doing the thing I talked about, right? They won. In the most simple sense, they did what they had to do. I think the Canes have proven they're a good team this year. They're 7 straight wins. They've now won, 9 of 11 contests. Like, they've proven they're good enough. It's time to start knocking off side quests. It's time to start, fulfilling the extra credit. Main test is win. Extra credit is take care of a team that you overmatch, like the Philadelphia Flyers, with no drama. Once you get up 3-1, slam the door. Make it 5-1 if you want, right? Like step on the throat, killer instinct. That's the next step for this team. And if things go sideways, you always have Martin Necas to score at the end. At least that's the way it's been for this winning streak. Jack Roslovic, one of their new additions this offseason, free agent, who's fit in swimmingly with the Carolina Hurricanes, talked about the team finding a way to win even without their best game.
Tonight's not a great judgment. We were fighting a little bit, but it's you're going to have those games, and it was important that we get the win. So whenever we can do that, it's the goal in this league. So it was great effort from everybody.
Great effort from everybody. Well, it would have been weird of him to single out the people who maybe didn't have the greatest effort, but we know there are some. And by the way, in about 25 minutes, we'll dive in further to the Pyotr Kochetkov conversation. Young goalie had a tough one last night, but that's why it's a team sport, right? The skaters bailed out the goalie in that one, which a lot of times you hear about goalies bailing out skaters. So, and nice to get one back in the other direction. That's number 2. Let's finish it up with number 1.
Bryce will be starting this week. This is about the progress from one week to the next, and then I preach finish. I talk about finish all the time. That's finish everything. Finish plays, drives, quarters, halves, finish games. He did a fantastic job of finishing that game the right way, finding a way to win, and really battling that way. So I was really proud of Bryce for that, and just took all the information in and wanted to give him another opportunity to get out there and face the Giants this week in Germany.
That was Dave Canales earlier today announcing that Bryce Young will be the starter against the Giants Saturday. I keep saying Saturday or Sunday morning. It's Sunday morning here. Obviously not where they're playing in Germany, but it'll be a 9:30 Eastern time kickoff.
Which, by the way, come to the Carolina Ale House in Cary on Sunday morning. We're going to be there live. Well, we're going to do Panthers Playbook live after the game, but we'll be there. Go come enjoy.
Talk a little Panthers during the game, after the game with Dennis and Chris Lee. Panthers Playbook. Bryce Young should be the starter. Bryce Young should be the starter. So they got to the right spot this week. I think they got to it late, but they got to it. Dave Canales was asked about the quarterback situation moving forward. Is it Bryce's job now, or is it like his job for this week and maybe not next week? We have some sound on that, I'm being told in my headphones. So, Dennis, go ahead and hit play.
I mean, it has effect on the whole team for sure. You'd like to have that consistency and all that. But we're in a situation where, I made a move early in the year, to put Andy in. And then we had 5 games to collect some information. And then this situation put us to where we have a chance to evaluate, Bryce and where he's at. So, I know the challenges that it does face. So to be fair to your question, yes, it does present some challenges. But again, like a bunch of our positions on our team this year, I look at the opportunities and I look at the experience and all those things that we talk about. So these are valuable games for us.
2 things I have a problem with in that answer. First, you're the guy that makes the decision. Oh, yeah, I know there's a lot of challenges, and then it's almost like he feels like it's like being put upon, like, if you don't want the challenges, just name the starter. That's your job, right? That's the plumber coming to your house and going, yeah, I mean, somebody's going to have to stop that leak, huh? And it's a real pain. I understand how difficult it is to have a leak in your house. And I'm going like, you're the plumber, dude. Yeah, I mean, the lack of consistency at the quarterback position, that's a challenge for the entire team. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'd love to have a quarterback that we name the starter and just roll with. Like, you're the plumber, dude. Name it. Secondly, the other thing that I did not like about that is he compared the quarterback decision to other positions. Like at other positions, we have to gather information and we have different opportunities. I don't say this to put quarterback on a pedestal. I say this because it's factual. Quarterback is different. Quarterback is, you can't judge it like other positions. It's just inherently, you can't say like, oh, hey, we want to see who our running backs of the future are going to be, so we're going to cycle in Jonathan Brooks a little bit, but Chuba's still our starter, and we're going to judge that. It's like, no, you can do that at running back. You can have a third down. There's no such thing as a third down quarterback. The quarterback is the leader of your team. You craft your whole offense around it. Do you know what actually Khalil Herbert, the running back, was just traded from the Bears to the Bengals. And the Bengals are playing on Thursday, tomorrow night against the Ravens. Joe Burrow, at his media availability, the quarterback of the Bengals, was asked if Herbert could learn the offense quick enough to play on Thursday. Do you know what Joe Burrow said? He stands right next to me. I'll just tell him. That's what you can do with a running back. You can't do that with a quarterback. You can't say like, oh, we picked up a quarterback on a Wednesday. Can he play Thursday? Yeah, we'll just have the fullback turn around and go, hey, read the safety. Like the offense is built around the quarterback. The quarterback can tell others what to do. The quarterback can tell them what they want them to do, right? The quarterback can say, this is what I, as the quarterback, need you, the running back, the offensive, whatever, to do in this play. It's not the same. Saying, we've had competitions at defensive back, and this has gone well for us, so we're going to use the same type of analysis and information gathering at the quarterback. What? No. It's just different. Yes, it's a team sport, and you're all moving in the same direction, and everybody's working towards the same goal, but not every position is created the same. I'm baffled quite often by the way Dave Canales handles his quarterbacks, which is strange because he pretty much got this job, I believe, because of the way he handles quarterbacks, because of his resume working with Russell Wilson and Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield at previous stops. Leaving me flabbergasted, befuddled, if you will. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Today, outside, it's dark now, but today during the day, darn near summertime here in the Triangle. It got hot. I was dressing my 3-year-old, put him in sweatpants. My wife was like, probably should go shorts here. It's going to be mid-80s, whatever it's supposed to be today. Which, bummer, we got to change clothes on the toddler, but that does provide you an opportunity to check out your windows. Tim Donnelly here for Window Nation. When the weather goes cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, guess what is getting an extra workout? Your windows. And if you're going air conditioner, heater, indoor fire, air conditioner, heater, you really want to double check your windows. Why? Because you don't want to be heating and cooling air that then seeps right out through your windows, or right out through your window panes, or right out through the sealant, or the faulty caulking, or the trim, or heck, maybe even just poorly insulated glass of your windows. Every bit of air that escapes from your house, you're paying for on your energy bill. Window Nation can seal them up tight. The best insulation, the best installation, the best materials from the vinyl to the glass to the sealants and caulkings I was talking about. It's Window Nation, and they make sure that your money stays inside your house. How else could you do it? And right now, like I said, the weather's going to test your windows anyway. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, pay nothing, no interest for 2 full years. If you go to windownation.com right now, that's windownation.com to schedule a free, no obligation consultation and estimate. If you're not an online person, you just want to make a call, that's fine too. 866-90-NATION. That's the phone number, 866-90-NATION. For Window Nation. And while you're there, let them know you heard about it right here on 99.9 The Fan from me, Tim. We need numbers game contestants. $25 gift card to Emilio's Italian restaurant. 60 years of tradition and family recipes at Emilio's. If you want to win the gift card, you got to play the numbers game. If you want to play, you have to call in now. The number to call, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Numbers game, next.
The Adam Gold Show.
More than the Panthers winning, I was just excited that Bryce Young looked like a quarterback who could play in the league. Now let's build on that. It doesn't do anybody any good to pretend that Bryce isn't going to be the quarterback. He has to be the starter in Germany. I don't get why we decide, well, we're just going to play coy. Who is that serving? Put him in the game, let him go.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime. And Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes!
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Here's Brandon with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Tired of waiting for a sleep treatment? At other sleep centers, it can take 6 to 8 months just to get an appointment and cost you thousands more. Not Parkway Sleep Health Centers. We schedule you within weeks and we'll save you money too. We have over 20 years of experience serving the Triangle. Let our expert team help you sleep better sooner.
End your sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right. Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's time to play the numbers game. And I am excited to have Andrew from Durham and Todd and Clayton as our contestants for today. There's a $25 gift card to Emilio's Italian restaurant, 60 years of tradition and family recipes. There's two ways to ask, two questions to ask here that are topical. I'm going to go with one and we'll save one for tomorrow. So today, earlier, just half hour ago, we had Nick Swardson on the show. Nick Swardson, stand-up comedian, actor, television film writer. He's known for his Adam Sandler movies, right? We're talking Just Go With It. We're talking Grandma's Boy, which is produced by Adam Sandler. There's quite a few. Andrew and Durham, pick your favorite Adam Sandler movie and tell us why.
I would say Waterboy. It's kind of a sports movie as well, but also tons of comedy and jokes. All
right, I mean it's a sports movie. It's kind of a something else movie too. I don't know what other category you want to put it in, but I appreciate it, Andrew. Solid answer.
We'll go to Todd and Clayton. Todd, in honor of our interview with Nick Swardson, what is your favorite Adam Sandler movie?
Gotta be Happy Gilmore. Can't go wrong with Chubbs.
Can't go wrong with Chubbs. I think you guys are both playing to your audience. You went with sports movies, but Dennis is the final choice. So, Dennis, which one are you going with?
Oh, gosh, this is hard.
Didn't say it was going to be easy.
Gosh, they're my two favorites when it comes to Adam Sandler movies. I think Big Daddy's actually.
I would say they're up
one.
there, but there's Billy Madison. Come on, now.
Billy Madison is also a classic as well. This one is actually extremely difficult. This one you can flip a coin completely on, and I would be like, yeah, okay. I might go Happy Gilmore on this one,
all right,
because I think Shooter McGavin is one of the more underrated movie villains of all time.
I don't even know if he's underrated. I think he might win a bracket if we put one out there and let everybody.
He should.
Shooter. I'm a big fan. Ninth Green at 9. Todd said Happy Gilmore, right?
That is correct.
I did try to get more details of Happy Gilmore, too, out of Nick Swardson. He gave us nothing, but it's funny. Thanks, Nick. But he said he wasn't allowed to give us any more. Todd and Clayton, you get to go first. Don't worry, Andrew, though. You'll have your chance. Todd, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
All right. The categories are NFL players born in November, NFL players 11th letter of the alphabet. These are all players whose last name starts with the 11th letter of the alphabet. Baseball, 2024 Dodgers and Yankees only, or the final category that you get to choose from, NHL Hurricanes only.
Let's go NFL November.
All right, these are all NFL players born in the month of November. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope, I'm ready.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers.
10.
Correct. Jacoby Myers, Las Vegas Raiders.
12.
Incorrect. Sam Bradford, St. Louis Rams.
14.
Incorrect.
No,
Jacoby
8.
Myers, Las Vegas Raiders.
14.
Incorrect. Sam Bradford, St. Louis Rams.
8.
Correct. Devin Hester, Chicago Bears.
23.
Correct. Jason Kelsey, Philadelphia Eagles.
87.
Incorrect. Jacoby Myers, Las Vegas Raiders.
15. God. Oh.
All right, you were still thinking. Just for fun, do you want to give us an answer for Jacoby Myers?
I don't know. 15.
You were getting closer. It was 16 for Jacoby Myers. You got Jordan Love. You got Sam Bradford. You got Devin Hester. That's good for 3. Jason Kelsey, by the way, number 62, and he was born on November 5th. In case you were wondering.
Am I wrong, Kelsey?
Yeah, well, I think that's happening a lot nowadays. The Kelseys are so famous they're interchangeable. Still, you got 3. Solid answer. Go ahead and stay on the line. We'll see if it holds up for the prize. That brings us to Andrew in Durham. Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes.
Was that a yes?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, cool. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players whose last name starts with the 11th letter of the alphabet, baseball players, 2024 Dodgers and Yankees only, or NHL Hurricanes only.
NHL Hurricanes.
NHL Hurricanes only. I'll give you the team and the player. I will say the team, even though we know it in this category, to keep it fair. There will be 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. You need 4 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Make sure you're speaking up here. You're a little quiet, and I just want to make sure I can hear you. You don't want to have to say what and cost you time. And your time will start when you hear the horn. Jordan Stahl, Carolina Hurricanes.
11.
Correct. Shane Gostisbehere, Carolina Hurricanes.
4.
Correct. Yuri Talusti, Carolina Hurricanes.
18.
Incorrect. Ken Manderville, Carolina Hurricanes.
44.
Correct. Yaroslav Svoboda, Carolina Hurricanes.
7.
Incorrect. Yuri Talusti, Carolina Hurricanes.
17.
Incorrect. Yaroslav Svoboda, Carolina Hurricanes.
6.
Incorrect. Yuri Talusti. So close. So close. You got Stahl. You got Gostisbehere. For those of you playing at home, we would have accepted 4, which the caller got, or 41. He's won them both. You got Manderville with 44. Talusti, you said, I believe, 17 and 18. It's number 19 is what you were looking for. So you were right on it. Svoboda, number 62. Unfortunately, by way of going second, the tiebreaker goes to who goes first. So even though you got the same number, you are not the winner. But hopefully, despite the close loss, you had a good time. All right, appreciate it. Heard myself there for a second. That's brutal because the first question that we asked was actually really close answers, and that ended up being the difference. So that's tough. But the winner, Todd and Clayton, Happy Gilmore won it for you. Congratulations.
That's right. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
There you go. You get to take the Waterbury Open and the gold jacket. Those are all Happy Gilmore references. Either way, appreciate you for playing. Go ahead and stay on the line.
Gold jacket, green jacket.
Who gives up? Never mind. Let's go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you. But you do get the $25 gift card to Amedio's Italian Restaurant, 60 years of tradition and family recipes. Amedio's Italian Restaurant. The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. By the way, we did reference the Nick Swardson interview. Also earlier today, we had the Hardy Boys, as they have been known. Matt and Jeff Hardy, professional wrestling legends, one of the best tag teams in the history of the sport. They were here in studio, so those interviews available where you find podcasts, available on our YouTube. Encourage you to go check those out. And both Matt and Jeff Hardy, as well as Nick Swardson, will be in the area. Matt and Jeff Hardy in Fayetteville at the Crown Center Friday and Saturday. Nick Swardson over at the Carolina Theater in Durham on Friday. Tickets available. Search them out online, and then enjoy yourself over the weekend. We do have to talk. We do have to have the serious conversation about Pyotr Kochetkov from last night, letting up a couple softies, making his team work a little harder than they had to get the win, the goalie for the Canes. But before we get into any of that, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. What if you could be debt-free by this January? I'm talking about all that high-interest debt. Pay off all your credit cards, your car loans, consolidate everything into one lower payment. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low fives, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this with Loan Pronto save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their express equity lines of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today, and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. Free rate quote now, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, talks about the man in the pipes. Pyotr Kochetkov coming up next. Stick around. Pack Therapy is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. It's Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan alongside legendary Wolfpack play caller Mike Glennon.
Every episode of Pack Therapy is your chance to get dialed in with inside information on your team.
We'll set you up for every Wolfpack game all season long.
And we'll break down every contest, what went right and what could have worked better.
Plus, special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go! It's bow time.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right?
Right.
So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust. And I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
This hour of the drive brought to you by Zero Res. This holiday season, Zero Res is hosting a food drive. When you get 3 rooms cleaned and donate non-perishable food, they'll clean a 4th room for free. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com. Again, that is ZeroResRaleigh.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Please subscribe to our YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan. If you are a Canes fan, you will find a boatload of content there. Canes Corner, amongst them. Adam Gold, our lead-in here on 99.9 The Fan, airs every weekday right before us, noon to 3. He does a great job covering the Canes. Pyotr Kochetkov has been, I don't know, it's I think of more of a fantasy football thing, but my fantasy football league, we talk about my guys. Right, we're in a dynasty league, so you can have guys on your team for like a decade, and everyone on the team ends up with a couple my guys, people that they were fans of, like at the draft. You got them on your team, they became good players, and you're just like, I'm not going to trade them. Right, I am all in on this player, and we all have our handful, and don't even approach the opposing guy to trade for that player because that's a my guy. Pyotr Kochetkov on the Canes is one of my guys. He's a my guy for me. I was last year when they sent him to where in the AHL, was he with like the Syracuse Crunch to start the season or something like that?
I think so. That sounds about right.
Because Antti Raanta was up with Freddie Anderson. I remember not being happy about that because I'm like, no, Pyotr is my guy. What are we doing here? So I'll put my biases on Front Street. I believe in his potential. All right, I am somebody who is take invested. I have clamored for it. I thought he should have been the goalie during the postseason last year. He got, I think, 1 start in the postseason last year. So with my biases on Front Street, I acknowledge not his best last night. Not a great night for Pyotr Kochetkov. But that is why I am doubling down on the importance of it being obviously his net for the Carolina Hurricanes. Not to say he takes every game. We said it earlier in the week. I think Thursday will be a Spencer Martin game. And once Freddie Anderson is healthy, you'd be foolish not to give him his share of games. But I just want it to be obvious that when the chips are down, when the game is must win, when it's the postseason, it's Pyotr Kochetkov's net. After a tough night for a goaltender,
I'm doubling down on the need to give him the keys. And it's partially, I think, and I've talked about this before, I am somebody who believes in a sport like most professional sports in North America, where there's 30 to 32 teams, your goal should be winning a championship. I get confused when unless you're like a small market baseball team and you need to make money just to kind of stay in competitive realm, I don't see the appeal of finishing fourth in your conference as a goal for like 10 straight years. If you keep trying and making moves and taking risks to win championships and you just so happen to finish fourth in your conference every year, I'm fine with that. But I don't get it when it's like when teams go, 7 years of being competitive and the defense is, well, have you seen the teams that are bottom feeders? Would you trade? And I'm going, no. But have you seen the teams that win championships? Would you trade? Sometimes you have to give someone the time and the confidence and the support to figure out what they can be rather than running away from that and running to what you know. One of the harder things for a team in any sport to do is to take the chances you need to take to perhaps find something special. Because you are exposing yourself. You're making yourself vulnerable to, right, high risk comes high reward, but it also comes laughing stock, right? If it's Freddie Anderson's net, I'm confident the Canes will not be a laughing stock. Freddie will be solid. Freddie will give you enough to be one of the better teams in the conference and win maybe a playoff series or two. I'm also pretty confident with Freddie Anderson. We've seen it enough. Pretty confident you're not going to win a cup. We've seen the flaws in the postseason enough, and we've seen it happen now time and time and time again. With Kochetkov, you might end up like on the SportsCenter, not top 10 more. You might have more like Leroy Jenkins kind of kamikaze runs from your goaltender. It's like, what is he doing out at the faceoff circle? And they're scoring back. Like, you might have more of those. You hope over time you have less and less, but you might have more of those because it's in his DNA. But also, I think there might be a cup-winning goaltender in there. Maybe. And there's only one way to find out, and it's to give him the keys. So a night like last night, what was the stat you gave? There was like 6 shots on goal, and he gave up 2. Is that what it was?
6 shots on goal over the final 2 periods.
And that's not great because that's kind of when the comeback was taking place.
Yeah, I think 3 of those went in.
That's a rough night.
Yeah, it was.
And it's not, by the way, the Washington game. I was like, you know what? If you give Ovechkin a 2-man advantage from that spot on the ice, hard to blame the goalie for that one. You know what I mean? The goals last night, not of that type. They were ones that you could look at and say, probably should have got to that.
Yeah, 2 of them I'd say. 2 of them I'd say yes, because the first one was a 5-on-3 power play goal. Okay. There's that one, and then there's one where there's a defensive zone turnover, and Owen Tippett just rips one in the top corner. All right, good shot.
So specifically the other 2, the softies, I'm not absolving Pyotr Kochetkov of blame for that comeback, for needing to use Martin Necas' hot streak to win a game late. I'm not absolving him of his role in Philadelphia, who's not the best team this year, storming back. But I am saying part of giving a guy the keys to the net and saying it's yours is letting him learn from that without being worried that he's going to go on the bench for the next however many games. Or without letting him think that, oh gosh, that game is the reason why they're not going to give it to me in the postseason. I want him to know. And then, by the way, then you have to trust him. And I change all of these opinions if you see him have a game like that and you don't see him working to fix it, and you don't see him caring, and you don't see him upset by that game. But there have been bad games from great goaltenders throughout, as long as there's been hockey. Right? The best goaltenders, about the third game of hockey ever played probably featured like 6 softies. Like it's and I'm talking about like centuries ago. It's gonna happen. But I look at Pyotr and I think of the ceiling. I think of the what if, and the what. If I were to ask 10 what ifs about Pyotr, I think 5 or 6 of them are going to be unbelievably fun. If you give me 10 what-ifs about Freddie Anderson, due to what we've seen, due to his injury history, I think 5 or 6 of them might be like injuries. What if he gets hurt doing this? What if this happens? What if that? Like I'm just more enthralled by the ceiling of Pyotr Kochetkov, and the only way I think he gets there is if you put the responsibility on his shoulders. And in the meantime, when he does have games like last night, the best thing you can do is win anyway, which is exactly what the Carolina Hurricanes did. He had his rough parts. He gave up his goals. He had his cringy moments, and then Martin Necas scored the game winner with under a minute to play anyway. Here's Martin Necas on what was going through his head before the game winner.
Oh, my God. I think last 2 or 3 shifts I made about 50 cutbacks, and we had some good zone time, and actually last time I passed it up too early, I look up at the Jumbotron at the clock, and I saw 34 seconds left, and I was like, oh boy, now then we gotta have to play the overtime. I was gassed, but luckily one in, and good teams find a way to win, just like Roddy said after a game, and that's what we did today.
Would have been sick if he just said, well, I just feel like I had to bail out Kochetkov, so I went ahead and found the back of the net for him. A little unassisted off the rebound. Shout out to my guy, PK. That's obviously not what he said, but might as well have been, right? Like, you get the win, suddenly the finger pointing, the blame doesn't sting as much. So I thought it was a good day as far as, bailing out your teammate. Maybe not the best day as far as pure goaltending.
By the way, the Canes got 5-on-5 goals from all 4 of their lines yesterday.
Well, you get 6 of them. They gotta come from somewhere.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't like a stack with a bunch of power play goals or it was just one line that was going crazy. Literally all 4 lines scored at 5-on-5.
Which is you need to do against Philly because, as we talked about yesterday, Tortorella and the stats show they're good on the PK. It's one of the only things Philly does well. So, hey, if they're good on the PK, score at even strength.
They're tough to play against. John Tortorella coached teams, even though, for example, the Flyers do not have the talent overall, like they are still tough to play against. They do not make it easy for you.
And it would, for sure, last night was not easy. It was a lot of things. Was not easy for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Hey, 7 straight, though.
7 straight. You want to talk winning streaks? Could the Panthers get to 2?
Let's go.
Is that the equivalent? Panthers this Sunday in Germany, 9:30 Eastern. They are taking on the Giants. Bryce Young will be the starter. That news broke earlier today. Dave Canales told the media at his media availability right before this show started. So to start Overdrive, we're going to play our reactions to that. Bryce Young, breaking news, starter for the Panthers again this week. Leading off Overdrive, we also have our thesis statement on the college football playoff rankings coming up in Overdrive as well. We'll be back tomorrow at 3. In the meantime, follow us on YouTube. Thank you to the Hardy Boys. Thank you to Nick Swardson. Thank you to Dennis for keeping us up and running. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a great night.
Move your sports day forward.
The Canes need to change their season slogan from Raise Up to Sup. After that terrible opener, they hit the road and come back a brand new team. Marty Necas, practically an early season MVP candidate. And everyone's afraid of the Ghost. Shane Gostisbehere's power play snipes. Yeah, Ghost, we see ya.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Morning people wake up for peace and quiet. McDonald's breakfast people, we wake up for the sweet rush of getting that warm, delicious breakfast right before it ends.
Enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with a fluffy egg for only $2.50. Be a McDonald's breakfast person. Get the most important deal of the day right after you wake up. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find Pinot Noirs and Cabernets that you adore. Our helpful guides are so friendly and nice. So many bottles to try at the lowest price. So gather with friends as you sit down to eat. Grateful for all who made Thanksgiving complete.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because